What is going on, everybody? And I'm realizing that I actually don't have my proper mic stuff set up, but I'm going to be setting it up while I'm doing the intro. This is your weekly AI tech news with myself, Cyrus, the founder of Tech is a New Black and Scale in Tech, along with my lovely, lovely co-host Ash. I'm realizing we actually don't even have our names down here at the bottom. At the bottom, our names are usually on here, but it is what it is.
Right.
Hey, look, y'all, we got some amazing tech news to cover this week. Some incredible things, y'all. We in a new year. It's a lot of shakeups that's been happening in the industry right now. News covering things like TikTok, what's happening with Grok AI, things that are happening. There's a new trend in the tech industry where there are referrals that are happening where people are paying for job referrals. And believe it or not, it's not illegal or even technically unethical. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the changes with Meta and Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg switching kind of sides and him removing some things from Facebook and Meta that has a lot of people pissed off. Nvidia, some updates with Chinese investors when it comes to tech companies. Microsoft tricking people right now. A variety of things, driverless cars, AI funding, the list goes on and on. And that's just some of the news that I have. That's not even covering the news and things that my co-host is going to be bringing up. So again, y'all, make sure y'all are tuned in, paying attention, because this news will help you when it comes to either you breaking into tech, scaling in tech, starting a business, or even knowing what companies to invest in or what companies to avoid. So look, y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button. We're not asking for no money. We're just asking for the like, because y'all know it serves the almighty algorithm. So that way our channel, our platform is able to grow. As our platform is able to grow, who knows what we'd be able to do? Maybe eventually we could have Mark Zuckerberg on as a guest. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button. We deeply appreciate y'all for doing that. We got some things to tell y'all about later in terms of some cool resources and stuff that we have. But since we're running late, I think I'll just go ahead and allow Ash to introduce herself for those of y'all that are new, and then we'll actually jump into the news and we'll get to some of the things we want to tell y'all about later. Ash, go ahead and introduce yourself for new
Yeah,
people.
of course. Thank you so much, Cyrus, for giving me the stage. As you guys already know, my name is Ash. I'm your go-to gal for AI solutions on the professional side if you're looking to transition into tech, or if you're looking for business AI automation solutions. Other than that, I'm also a startup founder of two AI-driven startups. Number one being a Better Boost, a wearable technology, and number two being Ashura AI, that's the AI agency. So we have some mind-blowing things to discuss today. I mean, you guys are going to get some major gems on how you guys can pivot and thrive in this industry. So passing it back to you, Cyrus.
And you know what? I actually will speak that into existence, Mark. I said it as a joke, but in reality, you said speaking things into existence. Mark Zuckerberg, hurry up on the show. You know what? Somebody timestamp it. Timestamp it. We are gonna have Mark Zuckerberg eventually on the show. And so so that means we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of elevating to do. Look, y'all, again, if y'all want to see people like jokes aside, if y'all want to see major people on our platform, again, our YouTube channel, we already have over 150,000 subscribers across myself and Ash. If we're putting all of our platforms together, we have somewhere in the ballpark range of about 700,000 followers platform wise. So look, y'all, if we push this up to a couple million, we get our views up, we get our likes up, and of course our production up as well, kind of similar to the podcast level, how our actual podcast looks. Then yeah, it would not be shocking or rare to have somebody like that. MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, who is he's a young black man who he's a tech reviewer. He reviews actual tech products. He's interviewed Mark Zuckerberg. He's interviewed Tim Cook. He's interviewed Elon Musk. He's interviewed all of those people. Young black guy. And so we know it's possible. We've seen it happen. He's reviewing their technology. Us talking about news that's happening in the industry and trends. It definitely makes sense for our platform to grow to where we become interviewers, where we're able to interview some of the big dogs in the industry and them talk about updates, and they use our platform as a marketing platform or even as a platform to address certain rumors and whatnot. So we definitely can make it happen, but guess how we make it happen? We make it happen with the support of y'all. So again, make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all support. Make sure y'all tell y'all friends and people about it. Anybody that's talking about anything that's happening in the tech industry, refer them to this. Say, hey, look, cool that's happening, but you should actually check out the weekly AI tech news with Cyrus and Ash, because they go over all of the news that's happening every week. And if there's something we're not covering, mention it in the chat, and that way we could talk about it. Again, y'all, we appreciate y'all. We have a lot of amazing news to jump into. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm trying to figure out which one to start with, but I think I know where I'm going to start. And you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. So the TikTok ban at the Supreme Court. We all knew this was coming. We announced this, y'all, about a year ago. Ash and I did. We talked about this. So the clock is ticking for TikTok. The Chinese-owned video sharing platform used to be used by nearly half the country is planning on disappearing from the U.S. app stores later this month. On Friday, yesterday, TikTok argued its case before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical of the platform's First Amendment challenge to the law requiring it to shut down or find new owners by January 19th. Now, of course, since then, TikTok actually has announced that they do plan on shutting down January 19th. So at this point, it does look as if TikTok is going to be out the door, because even they've said it themselves. I mean, if something else happens, it'll be like they got to make a movie out of it. Y'all know they're gonna make a movie out of this anyway. Anyway, let me continue on with the report, and then we'll jump into it. All right. So, what is the U.S. government's argument for banning TikTok? So, the U.S. government has expressed alarm about China's control of TikTok for years, warning that Beijing could exploit the platform's vast amount of user data to conduct espionage and surveillance operations against the U.S. Officials say that China could covertly manipulate what U.S. TikTok users see on their site to spread disinformation and propaganda against American interests. Listen, y'all, gotta ask y'all a question. There's two arguments as to what's really happening. Want to know from y'all which one y'all believe is true. There's the argument that ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company in China, that ByteDance is sourcing our data, that they're sourcing, that they're able to source information from our different websites, whether it's from our banking websites. So there's one argument that the government wants to shut TikTok down truly to protect us. But then there's the other argument that the real reason that the government wants to shut TikTok down is because all of our social media tech giants are here in America, except for TikTok. This is the very first time that a social media platform has gained popularity that is not US based. Whether we're talking MySpace, whether we're talking Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, it doesn't matter. We could say Periscope, we could say Vine, we could go down the list, Twitter. All of those are US based companies, which of course allows the US, and realistically, it allows these tech companies to get all of the data. They're the big dogs. But now a new player is on the scene, which has been threatening YouTube, it's been threatening Instagram, it's been threatening everyone. And that new player in the field is TikTok. And so they're even threatening Amazon when it comes to people being able to purchase things online. It's affecting Google because people are using TikTok as a search engine. So the other argument is that a lot of our tech giants have been financially incentivizing our politicians to get rid of TikTok because they're like, it's way too much of a threat to all of us. Basically, TikTok looks like Thanos. And all of the tech companies here are like, nah, we got to get them up out of here because TikTok is coming to wipe all of us out. So which side are y'all on? Want to know from y'all in the comments. And before I address the comments, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Ash. Ash, what are your thoughts on this? Can you believe it? Because this argument has been happening for a year now. Can you believe we're finally here where TikTok is going to go away? How do you feel about it? And also, which side of the argument do you believe is the actual case?
I know, right? We're already here in January. In a couple of weeks, we're not going to have TikTok. So I think, like you said, Cyrus, this is the perfect topic to start off with. We have two options. Are they deciding to do this for the common good, or is it for, capitalization? Are they just, interested in the money? The bottom line, always, I think we can, guess which one it's going to be. It's a capital market. However, we could also say that China has probably already gained a competitive advantage through already using our data. So this would kind of be, a preemptive strike to be able to, stop them from, really getting a further competitive advantage. However, I feel as though China probably already has the information that they need, and they've had enough time, to be able to, create damage if they so wanted to do so. However, this is a start. And so it would change everything. And so that would require all of us to pivot, all of us as business owners, as content creators. If you're on TikTok, you understand. However, I think it's just important as a content creator to understand that you can go to other platforms. Like I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and start that YouTube channel because we need to maximize out, all possible platforms because this is going to be changing the game. Lots of opportunity here.
Very, very true. Very true. I'm seeing a lot of comments. Y'all coming in hot with these comments. Ireland,
Yes.
the Ireland says, "Wow, so much in the tech industry." So jumping down to the topic, truth over emotions says, "So why aren't they banning all China media? Why aren't they banning Lemon 8 too? Since it's the sister app of TikTok." So good comment. I think so. First off, I've never heard of Lemon 8, which doesn't mean it's not popular. Clearly, it's popular, but it clearly doesn't have the popularity of TikTok. Part of it is also TikTok's algorithm. TikTok does have a very unique algorithm that a lot of our tech platforms have not been able to truly copy. We talked about this a little bit last week about how these social media platforms they do everything they can in their power. It's very similar to network television. Network television, their biggest goal is to put the best TV shows at the best time to keep you staying on their network. They don't want you changing a channel to another network. And these social media platforms, they are the modern, that's why they call it social media network. Like they are the modern television in a sense, or modern media in a sense, where they want your eyeballs to stay on their platform. And because of that, they're constantly updating what they can do, tweaks they can make to make their platform more addictive. That's why these platforms are addictive. They designed them to be addicting. And so that being said, TikTok, it's something about their platform. It's something they've done where Instagram, everyone's done everything in their power to try to figure out exactly how they do it. It's something about what TikTok has done that's made their platform even more addictive than our platforms that we have here. And so, and there's no real way for us to be able to, like, we can't get that data. It's one of those things that our, data analysts, data scientists, and others just have to like look and try to figure out what it is, but we're not able to actually figure out what it is.
Right.
So that being said, I don't think Lemon 8 probably has that exact power, that exact same threat. And there might be other things into it as well. I'm definitely going to look into that company, Lemon 8. Thanks for bringing that up, Truth. Lonnie says, doesn't China own U.S. bonds? Why not sell a bond back to Treasury? Yeah, that's above my pay grade. I talk about the tech stuff. I don't know about the U.S. bonds and all of that stuff. So that's something for me to learn. But I stick to my lane. But let us know, Lonnie. Like if you could explain that in the comments, we'd love to hear more of your thoughts on that. Natasha says the latter feels real and love the Thanos reference. I appreciate that, Natasha. Truth over Emotion says, how come fan base isn't getting more popular? Shouts out to fan base. The CEO. So people who don't know what fan base is it. So first, to address your question, fan base actually is getting more popular because of what just happened. Fan base actually just broke the top 10 of popular US apps right now. So because of this news and because everybody knows TikTok is going away, it's because of that news, and it's because of some news that I have about that we know that's happening with Meta and Mark Zuckerberg. Both of those pieces of news together is causing a lot of people to shift over to fan base. And so and again, just something to shout out, the actual CEO of Fanbase was a guest on Tech is New Black. We had him on our actual podcast production. So y'all definitely check that episode out as he talks about Fanbase for those of y'all that don't know what the platform is. But yeah, they are getting a lot more popular. Mary says, Lemon 8 don't reach out to you all day like TikTok. The word says TikTok exploited the short-term attention. Yeah, TikTok definitely was going crazy. Definitely was going crazy. Yeah. So look, y'all, it looks like TikTok's going bye-bye. Last question I have for y'all, and I even have for Ash, is how do we feel about it? Like, how do y'all feel about TikTok leaving? Is this, are you people where, we got anybody here that was where TikTok was your favorite social media platform? Or is anybody here that works at TikTok or worked at TikTok? Because TikTok definitely has a few American branches. I know people in tech that work at TikTok. So I actually need to hit them up to see, like, are you about to lose your job? Like, what's that about to look like? So definitely curious about that. Ash, like, is TikTok a platform that you are on a lot, or are you more Instagram heavy?
I'm glad that you asked because I'm actually not on TikTok. And the reason why is because so the word said it best. TikTok exploited, short-term attention, and so it's actually dangerous. I believe that it's more of a risk than a reward if you're going to be using it for entertainment purposes. Obviously, there's a lot of, you know, influencers and business owners that are really receiving significant ROIs from TikTok just because there is no better place in regards to numbers and views. But I think that, you know, it's going to be good for mankind overall, especially in the US. And so we have a few comments here. Thanks for engaging, you guys. Kurt says, TikTok shop, I heard, was making a lot of money and is millions. And so TikTok itself as, you know, a commodity. So a place where people can exchange goods, you know, make money and be successful is going to be taken away. And so it's going to be very interesting to see where it's going to put, you know, the majority of people that are using it, millions of people all around the world. And so not even like people in commercial areas, but also people in remote areas that once were able to receive, you know, funding or, you know, really express their problems with the world. Perhaps they'll have to switch over to Instagram to do it instead. However, James says, I'm not on TikTok because of how addictive it is. Exactly, like same. I already spend too much time on other platforms. Right. So, you know, Tony says, nah, I'm an unk. I'm too old for TikTok. I'm on Facebook and IG, in the IG streets. That's it, period. I feel that. Mark says, CEO of Fanbakes. Next is CEO of TikTok. We need answers. But on your question, I will be working security at a TikTok base in Washington, D.C. They're still hiring, so I guess they are fine with being banned. They're still hiring. Hey, interesting. Well, I guess they might have a plan up their sleeve. The alternative is for somebody to purchase the company. We know that Kevin O'Leary, also known as Mr. Wonderful, you know, one of the Shark Tank members, is interested in purchasing it. He's pretty, you know, adamant about that. So he might be able to work a deal out. However, you know, when it's based on spyware and the danger that it comes that it brings to our society, I mean, I think of how it's rotted the minds of our poor children, like the kids these days. Like we already know, you know, the attention spans are lesser than ever. It's absolutely insane. Mary says, I believe that if merchants were not preparing, I believe that if merchants was not preparing, it is about to be real. Yeah, it's about to be real. A lot of businesses are on TikTok. Absolutely. So, I mean, it might just change the economy itself. It might just change a little shift in the economy, at least, because TikTok was the number one platform. Like I said, I've said this before, Mark Zuckerberg is celebrating. I'm sure he's never been happier about how he's about to dominate this space. And I'm sure Elon even, he's like, how can I?
I actually have a theory. I have a theory. This theory is completely unsubstantiated, y'all. But it's a theory that I have. Let me know if y'all think this theory has any relevancy at all. I have a theory because y'all know Mark Zuckerberg and Meta in general were very left-leaning politically, very left-leaning over the past few years. I have a theory that since Mark Zuckerberg knew, or basically he knew Trump was becoming president, he wanted, because again, he's wanted TikTok gone. And y'all know Mark Zuckerberg just made a huge shift. He started making the shift about 3 months ago where he started shifting politically more right. Now, we don't know who he's voting for, but we know that first he apologized about 3-4 months ago. He apologized for how Facebook's involvement when it came to the jab. I'm not going to say it because I don't know if the algorithm will mess this up. But y'all know the jab. Y'all know the mask, all of that stuff. He apologized for that. He apologized for certain information that swayed people politically. And he admitted that Facebook was doing those things. And after doing those apologies, now fast forward, now he has put certain people on his board of directors, like Dana White, the founder of UFC, not the founder, the CEO of UFC, who is a super Trump fan, and other individuals as well. And he said that Meta is going to stop fact checking. So I wonder if he's made all of these shifts, even his content. He's completely, we've talked about this. He's rebranded his content in a way that everybody likes it, but it's generally content that more red pill, right-leaning men typically like, where it's like, oh, he looks aggressive. He's gotten into judo. He's been fighting a lot. He's been surfing. He seems like a bro, like a dude. And I wonder if the branding wasn't just to make him likable, but if it was all in preparation for this shift for him to get in cahoots with Trump and others. And so that way they could listen to him more when it came to them removing, basically him looking at what Elon did and him like, yo, let me also kind of snuggle up Let me come and kiss the ring.
Yeah,
And so that way,
it's smart. It's a
myself
smart
being a
move.
Facebook, that's my theory. That
Mhm.
is my theory. I want to know what y'all think
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
theory.
We can't blame them. I mean, it's checkers, not chess. In this game, it's a bloodbath. And so we
Yeah.
see everybody cozying up to Trump. People that you wouldn't even expect. Even, um, of course, I'm blinking. Um, Beyond like Mark Zuckerberg, but Jeff Bezos. He's following the same path as well. You
Yeah.
heard everybody heard that Meta is dropping, the truth facts checking. However, I also heard that Amazon is trying to align with, that as well. So everybody's dropping in. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, a lot of companies are also dropping their DEI,
Yep.
diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. So you
Yeah.
guys, let's hear about that. What do you guys think about them dropping those?
We see
That's
where
crazy.
these tech companies it kind of makes you think about like when BMW, y'all know BMW was a huge supporter of the Nazis during World War II. They were huge supporters of the Nazis. They actually provided a lot of, I think, the tanks and other different weapons. The BMW factories were helping provide equipment for the war, and they weren't forced to do that. They willingly did that. They were participants of it. Now, BMW had to do a lot of apologizing, a lot of rebranding. And now today, nobody even thinks of that. People are like, oh, they love BMW. But it clearly shows you how, in general, companies, businesses, they really just do what protects their bottom line. Even when we talk about DEI and we talk about what was going on during, and again, DEI is still here. It's never going to fully go away because there are companies that genuinely do believe in it. And then there are founders and managers who understand the data that does point to companies performing better when they have diversity. That being said, it being a theme of the industry, when it became a theme of the industry, you have to look at what was happening. And you have to look at the facts that, and we're not even talking about what was happening on the news, but even you have to look at how a lot of people don't know this. A lot of these larger companies were receiving extra funding for having these DEI initiatives, or they were losing funding or losing support. And I'm not talking about customers buying their products. I'm talking about the Black Rocks. I'm talking about Vanguard and others, where they created. I forget, it was a name of a. It's actual name of a thing. I'll make sure that I actually I'll look it up at some point. I'll bring up what it is. But it literally was a thing where the companies had, and we're talking about the LGBTQ stuff too, where it's like out of nowhere, it was just everywhere. And so you see how these companies, at the end of the day, they are shifting and moving towards the money, whatever it is, whether it's towards them seeming more democratic or more Republican, more conservative, more lenient. We see the DEI stuff got really popular and now it's going away. All of these different things in the shifts that are happening, and we see how at the end of the day they're following the money. They are following the money.
Yes, indeed.
So
Indeed.
Tony says a lobbyist. All right, look, y'all. So we could stay on this topic for a minute. Y'all see we bouncing around off over into other topics, which is always cool. We love to do it. But I want to hear the news that Ash has to share, because y'all know she doesn't tell me ahead of time. She used to tell me ahead of time what the news was, but now we have it to where I find out the same time y'all find out. So Ash, go ahead and hit us with the next piece of news.
Yeah. So you guys, before we pivot into this next set of news, which is about to blow your mind, I wanted to present a solution. We talked about, Mark Zuckerberg, what he's doing. And before all of these corporations absolutely dominate our country, there is another alternative. They suggest UBI, Universal Basic Income, but I want to present you guys with a solution for profit sharing. So imagine all of us being able to get a piece of the pie for all of these large corporations that are using, leveraging, and exploiting our data. I'm gonna leave it there. So we're gonna pivot into the next set of news, you guys. Now, California is absolutely in a blaze. We already see that, and it's not stopping anytime soon. As a matter of fact, if we don't stop it very, very soon, it may completely be desecrated. And so we want to present solutions. And so in this modern era, Nvidia's senior research manager named Jen Jim Fan, has recently articulated a vision where he has AI-powered robots. As we know, NVIDIA is dominating in the robot and also chip making space. And so, I mean, we're talking billion-dollar, trillion-dollar organization. And so these robots essentially would be deployed in, this firefighting situation where they would be able to ensure hazardous conditions are going to be, the escalation is going to be de-escalated quickly. And also we're going to be saving lives in many different ways instead of having those firefighters, risk themselves by, putting themselves in danger. We can replace them with robots. Now, this is just a speculation to where robots are deployed in this way. I don't think the technology is quite yet there. However, I don't know. Jim Fan may, come out with something very soon. So this is something completely new, something exciting. We may see robots out here that are, truly doing the work that is really going to make a difference beyond, being a babysitter or by lifting heavy packages around for us. So what do you guys think about the prospect of NVIDIA deploying robots for emergency situations or even for providing different solutions in our world day to day? So for example, what do you guys think is the solution for stopping this fire? Do you guys think that, it suffices for their fire suppressant planes that are still going out there? Do you guys think the fire is going to stop anytime soon? Let's hear from you guys with the situation. Do you think that technology could possibly, or AI innovation could possibly be the answer? What do you think, Cyrus?
When I saw the news, because y'all know I'm not in America right now, so usually my news is straight up social media.
right.
I'm not walking down the street or going to a restaurant hearing people talk about what's happening in America. They just worried about what's happening here in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And so literally all of my news of what's happening in America is social media. Like for instance, Atlanta, I didn't know Atlanta was hit with basically a snowstorm, or that it was covered in snow until yesterday afternoon. Like I was on scrolling and I kept seeing stuff with snow in Atlanta and I was like, what? And so that being said, the news with the fire, when I saw it at first, I didn't realize it was a big deal. I was kind of like, oh, okay, it's fires in LA. It's always a lot of fires in LA. And then I was realized like, oh no, this is crazy. And in my head, the thought crossed my mind. I was like, yo, it's 2025. Why is this still a thing? And I'm not saying fires, because I'm not saying fires. I'm saying
yes, Cyrus.
We have AI that's on the brink of being as smart as us. We have robots that could do everyday tasks. We're having reusable rockets that can go into space, go to another country, go back into space, and come back and be landed by chopsticks, basically, by giant chopsticks. Like we're doing crazy stuff in Dubai. I don't know if y'all know this. In Dubai, they actually control they control the weather in Dubai, and that's not a thing where y'all know people say all the time. People say, "Oh, they control the weather. They control the weather." No, in Dubai, it's actually a thing. I when someone told me, I thought that they were just some cuckoo type of stuff. I looked it up, and it's legitimate thing. Like the government, they have a thing that's called seeding the clouds. So they'll keep it raining from a period, make it rain. Now, of course, y'all know Dubai just got flooded about 3 months ago. Like, no, not even 3 months ago. It was about 6 or 7 months ago. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, all right, you keep playing with God and you playing with his elements. Eventually, God gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna shut all this down. But it's like with all of this technology, everything we're able to do, why are we still having major fires that are running rampant? Now, I know some people, and I want to know from y'all, some people theorize, and I believe there's weight to the theory. Some people theorize that of course it's a plot, it's a plan by the super wealthy, by those in power, by politicians. I've seen a lot of people say that. I don't know enough about that topic to say if that's true, but also don't know enough about it to say it's cap. That being said, in my mind, literally when I saw it and I was looking through it, I say, yo, someone is going to create some technology from this where they're going to be like, yo, this has to stop. This is just goofy at this point. And so, so to your point, you bring it up with Nvidia. So that makes perfect sense. It's like the fact that firefighters lose their lives saving people in these situations. Like we think about what happened in 9/11 and how a lot of the lives that were lost during 9/11 were firefighters and were paramedics and first responders. And it's like, yo, this is what technology should be doing. This is what robots should be replacing. They should be replacing us from doing this stuff. When we try to save lives, we should not be risking losing lives in the process. Why is technology not doing this? So yes, I agree with your point, Ash. I'm happy that Nvidia's thinking about doing it. Now, for those that are investors, this definitely should be a larger reason to invest in Nvidia, because this makes Nvidia not just valuable because of their technology. This makes them likable, because now people will be like, oh, the company that has the tech that's actually saving lives and now first responders. This could be one of the things that could make people more pro robots and more pro tech, where they're like, oh yeah, you know what? I don't like robots, but I like Nvidia's robots because their robots do this and this and this. That actually might be a smart way to warm the public up to robots, to technology, is by having it do things where it's truly saving lives. And so
solutions.
Exactly. So so interesting. But anyway, I've said enough about my thoughts. Let's see what y'all are talking about in the comments. How y'all feel about it? Tony said the lobbyists. Talking about the last topic. Let's see. How? Okay, why isn't our country using the robots for things like this? Why? Yeah, exactly. Lyric Studio says, I believe AI could help. Ironically, I believe they allowed this to occur because I've heard they plan on making LA a tech city by 2028. I agree, Cyrus. The tech is there. Why not be prepared? Yeah, it is very strange. Very strange. Mary Wallace says, totally feel the same way, Cyrus. Mary says 180,000 people evacuated. That is insane. Yeah, when I saw the footage, I said, yo, it's a wasteland. Like, it's like the whole county of LA has been leveled. And when I saw that, I said, that's insane. Like, when you look at the aerial view of all of it wiped out, that's 180,000 people. That's scary, even for the nation. That's scary, because even if we step outside of obviously the lives that were lost, we step outside of the people that have been displaced from their home or their homes. We also talk about, okay, where are all those people going to go? Because now you're talking about 180,000 people that are getting flooded into other parts of the country. It's like that's going to make cost of living skyrocket in a lot of different places. And so cost of living is going to go through the roof in other parts of the country where people were already trying to figure out how to pay for things. The price of apartments, the price of homes, the everything is going to shoot up everywhere. Especially, you're also talking about a group of people that 180,000 people from LA, on average, all of them make more than the average American. So now you're talking about people that are used to living a higher life, a better lifestyle, usually with a little bit more money, particularly the ones of them that are working remote, or they didn't lose their companies or lose their jobs in the midst of that. These are high net worth individuals. So again, we're going to see the prices of things skyrocket all around the US because of this. And again, the prices are going to skyrocket. The cost of living is going to skyrocket without people's income skyrocketing as well. So this is about to be really interesting to see just how the trickle effect of all of this happens. So let's see what else y'all are saying in the comments. So James said, Alani says they can use AF drones to drop water bags similar to farming app. Yeah, but I mean, the water bags, I mean, maybe they need some type of technology, which I know they do this already, but they need something that can detect. It can be predictive technology to predict based on weather and based on the driest areas where the highest likelihood of a fire starting. Because I've been, for those of y'all, let me know if any of y'all have actually been to LA or been to North Hollywood or any of those areas. Well, North Hollywood is in LA because LA is a county. But anyway, I've seen fires start out there, like just start. And it's the craziest thing. And it was when I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps, and I was actually on, what's the name of that base that's in? It's actual boot camp base as well, but it's a really huge base that's in Cali. Dang, that's embarrassing. I can't remember the name of it. It's the only other Marine Corps base where they actually teach boot camp, because the Marine Corps, they only teach boot camp in two different cities. One is Paris Island, which is where I did my boot camp at, and then the other one is in LA, or in Cali, not LA. Anyway, I was on the base. We were on a bus, and I remember looking over to the forest line, and I just saw a fire just starting. And I was like, and they were like, yeah, somebody eventually is going to put it out. This happens all the time. And I'm like, that's crazy. But that was about 10 years ago. So they definitely need some technology that's either predictive, or is doing some version of scanning or something that can predict where the highest likelihood of a fire is going to occur at specific days and times. And then also have drones based on that predictive technology to hover over those places, go over those places, and drop that water, to be a preventative method. Like that just has to happen. I think. So good idea to your point.
Water is water isn't necessarily the best solution. However, it's a start. So I want to present something to you guys. So what if I told you that I came up with a plan that's guaranteed to suppress the fire in 48 hours?
What is
by
it?
leveraging what Cyrus said, AI technology. I'm going to share my screen. Should I share my screen? It's literally a presentation. Like, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, this is the solution, you guys. This is the solution. This is actually something that I was even going to share with, other leaders that are supposed to be taking care of this. But hey, we can all be a part of the solution. So here it goes. Okay, we're just going to cover this really quickly, but this is how we stop the fires, you guys. Okay, I think it's up here now.
Yes, there, we can see it.
Okay, we're going to go very, very quickly. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're leveraging, we're taking care of it ASAP. We also want to make sure that we're leveraging data-driven solutions and, like I said, drone technology, while also combining eco-friendly fire suppression. We want to make sure that we can rebuild, all right? And so we're looking into, I'm sorry, guys, let's get full screen there. So really quickly going over it, obviously we're going to have to deploy certain organizations together with immediate mobilization within the first 6 hours. We're talking about leveraging Nvidia's technology, like Cyrus says, predictive technologies. Now, obviously, this is going to cost into several millions of dollars. However, by leveraging and combining drones with this predictive technology, then this is a solution. Within the next 24 hours, we're looking into suppression and containment. So obviously, as you guys can see, the solution will require around 10,000 micro drones and then also large drones. And then we're going to have to look into deploying, ground robots to clear vegetation if we possibly can. It's going to be a multifaceted solution that would be required. And so this is kind of the breakdown of like what we would need to deploy immediately. And so it's going to be a hefty cost. However, we're looking at 90% of active fire fronts being suppressed within the first 24 hours, and we're looking for the remainder being suppressed within the next total of 48. So that's that. I also want to say there is new technology where sound waves, you guys, can be deployed to stop massive fires. So the technology exists. And we all just need to come together to present. Let me know. Yes. Yes. If you want to explore it further, I'm happy to.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for sharing that. Y'all see Ash is on it. For those of y'all that don't know, for those of y'all that are new here, Ash is an actual AI generalist and also AI consultant. Of course, she's also a AI founder as well of wearable devices technology. So for those of y'all that, whether you are a founder or you're looking in some type of way to scale in your career or your business when it comes to artificial intelligence, definitely tap in with Ash. Several people that I know personally have done consultants with her. Literally, people have hit me up in the DMs and they said that they're getting consultancy through her. That's a beautiful thing to hear. I'm excited about that. Y'all make sure y'all take advantage of that. Tap in with her. The very first consultation is a screening consultation. It's entirely free. So y'all can literally book with her. Y'all literally click the link down below in the description to tap in with her. So if everybody's like, well, how do I book with her? How do I schedule? Literally, the link is right below in the description. Whether you're watching now or if you're watching this later on LinkedIn or YouTube, the link is down in the description to be able to tap on that and be able to schedule a one-on-one with her. So again, y'all see the how her brain works and what she's able to bring to the table, and imagine what she definitely could do for you. Would be beautiful. So that's incredible. That's fire. I definitely think we should implement that. It's 2025. There's no reason, like, it's embarrassing for us to talk about for government and other people to talk about robots replacing us. And it's like, yo, before y'all even talk about replacing us, dog, y'all need to fix these other problems. Like, y'all can't talk about robots replacing us from our jobs. Y'all need to get on y'all job when it comes to fixing these problems. Get the robots to do that stuff first, and then we probably could consider having robots do some other things. This is interesting. This is definitely when the technology starts doing these things, it definitely is going to sway public opinion when it comes to robots. I wonder, and this is kind of as a man thing, I wonder how much this technology is going to soften us. Because when I think about, y'all know I served in the Marine Corps and I served during wartime, and I think about how it's like, yo, because right now, if y'all look at the wars that are currently happening, particularly Ukraine and Russia, a lot of the war is a robot war. Like right now, a large portion of people that are being taken out by drones, where literally the drones are flying around and you can't escape the drone. The drone can see you. And the thing is, the people, if y'all can actually find videos like this, there are people that are literally dropping their guns. There's a video of a dude, he saw the drone and he just started begging. He was begging. He was like, please, because he knew he couldn't. Because if you watch the videos of people trying to outrun the drones, they'll try to run around trees. You cannot escape the drone. The drone will literally fly around, and it's got a camera, so they'll sit there, just look at you, and be like, "Yep." And it's horrible. There's nothing you can do to escape it. And so we see the technology, and it's like, okay, we're clearly getting to a point. I would say probably 5 years from now, at least 5 years from now, when war happens, it should be a very rare occasional thing that you're ever sending troops to go. Unless it's something like Iraq, where it's like you actually have to go into the homes and clear the homes SWAT team style. And even then, there might be technology that'll be able to clear that. Because we reported on tech that can actually see through walls and it can like make out who's in the rooms. And I'm not talking about like, you just seeing like a body figure, but you actually seeing the person through the wall. And so that tech exists. So we're definitely entering an era where our wars are going to be robots. And it's basically just going to be generals or people in a room that is almost going to be Call of Duty style, where they're going to be going to war that way. So the technology, I think between that and then the technology replacing firefighters, we already know about technology starting to replace police officers. We got the robot dogs. We have a variety of things. Literally, there have been people getting arrested by robots. We reported on that a couple months ago, which is embarrassing. A dude literally, a robot came to get him and he tried to fight the robot, and the robot literally detained him, I think, with pepper spray. And it's like, yo, that's the most embarrassing thing. And it was on video too. It's like, imagine how embarrassing it is. You're the first person in history to get beat up and detained by a robot. But anyway, that being said, I'm just thinking about how it'll affect actual men. But that's another topic for another day. Let's see what y'all are talking about in the comments, and then we will shift over to the next topic. Because again, y'all, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, Mary Wallace, thank you, Cyrus, for your service. Hey, my pleasure, my pleasure. Tony says, I must research how sound can stop fires. That sounds interesting. Yeah, sound is a very interesting tool. What people using it as a tool. Mary Wallace, exactly the word, Cyrus. Yeah, yes, Cyrus. I lived in San Diego. That's where it was at. I think the base is near San Diego. I lived in San Diego, and I'm glad I'm not there anymore. Yeah, literally the base it was in San Diego, because I remember it was in San Diego. I remember that part. Anyway, Tony says, I was pondering about cyber warfare too, especially with quantum computing. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. That's so true. Lyric Studios. I agree, Cyrus. It's a fine balance that needs to happen. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. That's very true. And yeah, but the technology could break that cycle, which is scary to think that. It's very scary to think that. So for those of y'all that don't know the quote, just like Lyric Studio said, hard men create soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times create hard men, and then the cycle continues. And that's happened all throughout history. If we look at the Babylonian Empire, the Roman Empire, we look at all of the empires that rose to power and fell. They rose to power by great men, and strong women. They rose to power, but what made them fall, the same way in America where everybody's talking about men becoming feminine and women becoming masculine. This is not new. You look up, this happened in the Roman Empire, happened in the Babylonian Empire. We all think like, oh, it's because of social media. It's like, no, it's because society has gotten so plush. Despite what we like to think, society has gotten very plush. So it's gotten to the point to where men don't feel like they need to be men. And on the flip side, women feel like they don't really need a man. So many times it causes them to be more masculine. So it causes like a weird thing, which usually causes the decay and the decline of a nation. It happens across the board many times. So yeah, but technology could break the cycle to where it's like, when will there ever be hard times? You know, economically, there could be hard times, but it's like, in a 50, 100 years from now, aside from economically, life-wise, even for third world countries, like y'all know, I'm in the Dominican Republic right now. I'm in a mid-rise right now, basically a high rise. Florida's still in wind. I could show you all the view, like looking at the city and stuff. And so it's like,
Yeah, sure.
and this isn't even a rich part of town. Y'all want to be very clear. This is a very middle class part of town. And so it's like, this is a third world country, and the same thing in the Colombia and the other places where obviously they have really impoverished areas where people are living in huts. I want to be clear about that. But 50 years, 100 years from now, even third world countries, they're going to have robots. It'll just be their robots are outdated. But they'll still have robots. The technology, all the stuff will be there because they have their version of DoorDash here. They have their version of Uber Eats here, and their version of all of the tech stuff we have. They have their own version of that stuff here. Same thing like Dubai. They have their own version of these apps in these other countries. So all the technology is getting in all of these different places. Anyway, let me get off the yapping. We got to get to the next topic. Last comment I'm going to address before we get to the next topic. Missed my code Han or code Han. Our community has to make sure we are a part of the technology wave and we don't miss out like last time. That's very, very true. Great comment. Perfect timing as well. Speaking of community, for those of you that are looking for a tech community, a community of techies and professionals, definitely tap in with our tech community that we have. So we have a tech community of over 5,000 professionals, techies, and those aspiring to get in the tech industry. And we also have a tech event coming up in about 3 weeks. It'll literally be on a Saturday. It'll be February 1st. It'll be Grown and Techie is the tech event. So it's going to be with our tech community, over 5,000 members. And so definitely you're going to be able to witness a panel interview as well as a keynote interview with a lot of different recruiters, other people that are in the industry, founders, and others that will be in the space. So make sure you tap in. It will be in Atlanta, and it will be at the Gathering Spot in Atlanta, Georgia. So make sure y'all definitely tap in, join the community. One of the links down below should give you access to it. If you don't see it from the links down below, you could literally just head to the Tech is the New Black or scaleintech.com website, either or techisnewblack.com, scaleintech.com, and it'll take you, and then you'll see a tab for community to join the community. Other thing I'll say for those of y'all that are looking to scale in the community, you could definitely tap in with Scale in Tech, which is the tech bootcamp from Tech is New Black. We've helped thousands of people get into the tech industry. We have been doing that work a lot behind the scenes. And we decided, you know what, let's go ahead and pull together our resources. Let's pull together the best instructors that we've worked with in the past. So we have leading instructors that work at major tech companies, literally the top tech companies in the world. I actually can't even say the companies they work at anymore because there's a risk that us mentioning the companies could look as if like we're using their branding as a part of what we're doing. So literally, I can't even say the companies because the companies are that big. We have leading instructors who themselves have helped people get in the industry. And a couple things that's unique about the Scale in Tech Bootcamp. I'll say 3 things that are unique. One thing that's unique about it is that we actually have guaranteed interviews. So no one can guarantee you a job. Anyone that guarantees you a job, they better own a company where they actually want to plug you in at that company to give you that job. Outside of that, we do have a large network of recruiters and others that we actually are. I'm gonna be real with y'all. We actually have relationships with some of them, and others of them, we are honestly paying them for them to be able to set people up from our program when it comes to referrals and interviews. So we have that piece. Because of our larger network, we're able to do that. Of course, I've already mentioned that we have leading instructors, but even outside of the instructors, or Ash just dropped out, outside of the instructors, we also have, outside of the instructors, we also have AI tool that actually does all the work for you when it comes to your career scaling. So it covers your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn optimization. It covers your your salary negotiation. So literally you can upload whenever you receive an offer letter, the offer letters you receive, it actually will scan your offer letter and it'll give you every part of your offer letter to negotiate, from your salary, your bonus, if it's a commission-based role, commission, to your equity, to what types of perks you can receive. Everything you can negotiate, the AI tool we has does that. As well as it also coaches you when it comes to your interviewing. That's something we also do in the program, but we also have an AI tool that you receive that you're able to use that as frequently as you like. There's a bunch of other things comes with as well, but again, just giving you all a bit of a heads up. And so now you get access to that AI tool when you get closer to the end of the boot camp. So that way, of course, you make sure that you're actually focused on the education you receive. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention, but we got to go ahead and move on to the next topic. But again, if those of y'all that want access, literally click the link down below and you'll be able to get access. Oh yeah, last thing I want to mention for you all, we do have a tech career quiz. So for those of you that are like, I'm not really sure if I want to do scaling tech, or if maybe I want to do something else, another thing that y'all don't offer, click the link down below. What's unique about our tech career quiz is that if you do a tech career quiz from other boot camps, I'm not going to say any names, most other boot camps that have a tech career quiz, their quiz only gives you suggestions that they offer. So it's not a legitimate quiz. And for those of y'all that know Tech is New Black and know me, you know that whatever direction you need to go in tech, we help you get there. So our quiz, we just updated it to where whatever it is that you want to do in tech, as long as it has to meet these three parameters for us to suggest it for you. It has to be a career that's a six-figure career, meaning you'll either start right below six figures or above six figures. Either way, you will be able to scale to six figures. So it'll be a six-figure career. It has to be a career that's in high demand, and it has to be a career that you will be able to actually land a job in that field within 6 months, 6 months to 9 months max. So anything that we don't refer, it's because it doesn't meet those parameters. It either will take you too long to get a job in that field. It's either not in very high demand, which means it could possibly risk layoffs. And the third piece is that it's probably something that isn't going to make you six figures or close to six figures. So again, take our tech career quiz and we'll route you to at least two. We always give you two options, 2 of 10 different roles in tech that all meet those 3 different parameters. So yeah, and even if it's something we don't offer, the team will refer you to someone else with a discount to help you get that career in that role. So definitely tap in with the link down below and we'll be able to help you out. Oh, cool. Always says that's a fact. I took the quiz twice just to see, and it gave me suggestions to other boot camps. Really great. Thank you for doubling down on that always. Yeah, and we're constantly updating the quiz to make it better and to provide better options, and also based on the industry. So every month. So for any of you that are here in the chat, you're like, yo, I did the quiz 2 weeks ago or a month ago. It's been updated again. Every single month we update it based on what's happening in the industry, based on trends, based on data of the future, all of that. Because we only want to recommend the top paying things, the best roles in tech for y'all, because it serves y'all and it serves us, because it's y'all land jobs and careers in tech and y'all make a lot of money. Y'all see, I've interviewed hundreds of people. People come back, they tell me, we get to interview them. It helps more people learn about it, and it makes our platform grow. So it's a cycle that benefits all of us. So we're really big on recommending the very best things in tech. So anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and get to the next piece of news. I'm seeing what's going on with Ash. Hey, are you coming back? Question mark. Her computer probably died, most likely. Anyway, y'all, we're going to get into the next piece of news. Next piece of news. Mary Wallace says she needs to be invited to assist the military. Are you talking about Ash? To assist the county. She is very smart. Yeah, she definitely is. She definitely is. Yeah, so that's something that Ash is doing for we're gonna be doing in Atlanta. So we're working on tapping in with the government in Atlanta for her to assist the city of Atlanta when it comes to AI. So definitely, if any of y'all have any connections when it comes to local government in Atlanta, let us know, so that way we could plug Ash in with those people. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get to the next piece of news. Next piece of news. Hopefully Ash comes back sometime soon. Anyway, let's get to the next piece of news. And I was just talking about this. Again, this is something we offer. So there is a new $30,000 side hustle making job referrals for strangers. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that's stupid. Yeah, y'all. So anyway, let me fill this in. So let me know if y'all heard about this new side hustle, this new trend. Yeah, so we do this, but for us, it's not a it's not a side hustle for us. It's something that we actually use to help more people get in the industry. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull this up on another site. So I literally had this pulled up, but y'all know how all of these different news sites, how a lot of them will try to charge you just for you to read the news, and it's like, man, don't make me go to Chat GBT because I'm already paying monthly for Chat GBT. Y'all making me have to pay y'all. All right. Actually, speaking of, that's literally what I'm gonna do. Since Bloomberg wants to play around, who all in the chat uses whether it's Chat GBT, whether it's Copilot, who's ever tested out putting a link in the generative AI platform for the AI platform to give you a rundown of what it is that the site is talking about. I do it all the time. It's the perfect thing. It's like Spark Notes, but you just put whatever link in there and it will give you a breakdown, a summary of whatever it is that you want to talk about. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in right now. Give me a summary from this link for the purpose of YouTube Tech News. My audience and brand. All right, here we go. Thank you, ChatGPT to the rescue. All right, so listen, y'all. So in the tech industry, employee referrals. I just heard somebody pop in. Is that Ash? Oh, yep, it's Ash. All right, I'm bringing her on now. All right, we're about to hop onto the next topic, Ash.
All right.
Truth over emotions. I put links into Perplexity for advanced insight. Exactly. I do it with Google. With Google, what do you mean with Google always? Let me know in the chat what you mean by that. All right, so the next piece of news, in the tech industry, employee referrals have become a lucrative side hustle, with some individuals earning up to $30,000 a year by recommending strangers for job openings at companies like Microsoft and Nvidia. This trend has led to the emergence of online marketplaces where job seekers can purchase referrals from current employees, aiming to enhance their chances in competitive hiring processes. While these platforms offer a streamlined approach to networking, they raise ethical concerns and potential conflicts with company policies. Critics argue that monetizing referral could undermine the integrity of hiring practices and disadvantage candidates who cannot afford to pay for such services. As this practice gains traction, it's essential for both employers and employees to consider the implications on workplace culture and the effectiveness of recruitment strategies. So basically put, it's a trend now to be able to pay like recruiters and pay other people to get set up on basically get set up on interviews within the companies to get the job. And we already knew this is a thing that was happening under the table. I can say I'm not sure if other people do this, but again, I say this openly that this is definitely something like we leverage our network we have to make sure to help people get jobs. The difference with us and what we do is that we actually make sure people are qualified. So I'll give you all an example. No one can come to me or go to Horace, who is the tech sales instructor. No one can come to us and pay us to set you up on an interview with somebody. You literally, our checks and balances is that you have to actually do our boot camp. And then we can set you up. The reason why is because we want to make sure that if we're going to connect you with a recruiter friend of ours for them to set you up on an interview, we want to make sure we can vouch for you and vouch for what you know. And the only way we can do that with integrity is to actually be able to say, no, we know what they know because they went through our program and they scored an 85, a 90 on the quiz. And so so that's how we're able to do our guaranteed interviews. Now, again, to be clear, the this is something that, as I was sharing with the news, this is becoming a new industry trend. So I'm not gonna lie, I thought that we were doing something that not a lot of people knew about. Come to find out, this is an industry trend. But unfortunately, some people are paying and getting referred even if they don't have the skills. Now, the thing is with this, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, as y'all big brother, younger brother, depending on how old you are, I would strongly encourage you to not just go out there and try to pay a recruiter or pay somebody for an interview. Because if you pay them for an interview, you could pay them for the interview. They don't have to get you to give you the job, and you would just be out of money. You need to make sure you actually have the skills, the education, the knowledge that you're qualified, and that you actually know how to interview specifically for these roles. And that's why, again, I always tell people come to me all the time. They're like, Cyrus, I have all of these certifications. Why can't I get an interview? Or I have all of these certifications. How come I can't get past a round 2 or round 1 of the interview? I have these degrees. How come I can't get anything? It's because those degrees and those certifications alone are not giving you all of those other skills that I just mentioned. So again, make sure, y'all, that you are doing a quality tech boot camp, a quality tech program that trains you and coaches you on all of those things. And of course, again, as always, we recommend you to different programs, different platforms, even if it's something that we don't offer. But again, this is a trend that's happening in the industry. So look, no judgment, no bias. Y'all let me know straight up in the comments how y'all feel about this. I just straight up outed ourselves and say, hey, this is something that we do to help people out. But I want to know from y'all, straight up opinion. Do you feel like, okay, this is wrong for people to do this? Do you think, hey, that's just the way the world is? You got to pay to play. You know, obviously the industry is in crazy high demand. It's literally like paying for a 6-figure career, which is crazy, but it's what it is. I mean, I guess that's what college is. Like either way, you're paying for the outcome of something. And so, but let me know in the chat what y'all think about this. Always say your top is gorgeous, Ash. I love it. Yeah, it is. It is.
Thank you.
Those are pearls. Yeah, that's what they are. They're pearls. I don't know why I didn't notice it before.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
So let's see. Always, or Lyric Studio says, yo, that's a vibe. Where do they do that at? So I also want to be clear. The news also shares that a lot of tech companies don't have a problem with this, because in their minds, they're like, look, as long as y'all are hiring the best person, yeah, somebody could pay for an interview, but it's like, again, it's up to the recruiters to choose the top people. So a lot of tech companies don't have a problem with this. Other tech companies do. There are a couple tech companies that have voiced that they don't want their recruiters and their HR teams doing this. Lyric Studio says, I can never knock the hustle. Just because you can get on doesn't mean you'll stay there. Exactly. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Those are facts. Mary Wallace says, so very beautiful. Ash is gorgeous. Yeah, Ash is gorgeous.
Thank you.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that when you type on here, it sends tech is a new blood. I guess because we're literally typing through the same account. So that makes sense. At least it highlights you in StreamYard. It says Ash. All right, cool. Good stuff. Oh, we got the other chat. Let me hop over to the other chat to see what y'all are talking about. What y'all talking about in this other chat? Y'all are going in. That's hilarious. James Davis says Cyrus grabbing his $1,000 brush. That's hilarious. That brush probably 50 cents. I bought it out here. Sarah Ann said, I'm happy it's leaving a lot of misinformation. What's on there? A lot of kids were getting hurt from misinformation on TikTok. So I'm going back through all the news people were sharing earlier. Sarah Ann says, I think that is a great idea if we have robots putting out fires. LA has had a shortage on firefighters and the fire hydrants have been dry. Mm-hmm. Sarah Ann says, so they need an intervention technology. They need an intervention technology would definitely help. Yeah, especially for careers like firefighters, yes, police. Those are careers that they're bedrocks to our society, but they're also careers where the people are drastically underpaid. And so now mind you, we definitely have horrible police officers. We definitely do. But I don't think the solution is for them to be paid less. I think the solution is to get rid of the bad ones, which they need to stop. The police forces need to stop operating like they're military, where it's like we're a brotherhood. Now you can operate like a brotherhood and a sisterhood when it comes to protecting each other when you're under the risk of being like shot at or unalive, but the protection cannot be from we're going to look out for each other if you do something illegal or if you unalive a person that should not be unalive. It's like that's where they start to lose their humanity and they act like it's them versus the people they're called to protect and serve. Mm-hmm. That being said, they are underpaid. When you think about them putting their lives at risk, they're underpaid. And so I think the technology, the robots, all of these things, it's going to cause them to be paid less. And eventually they will be relatively obsolete. It's like you will see actual physical police officers only in like rich towns and rich neighborhoods where it's like, it'll be like a privilege. Like, oh, we have an actual officer that's here. Like, look at us. It's the same way that the wealthy, even to this day, the wealthy have a nanny or they have a maid or they have someone like that that's either in their home or has a guest room or something like that. It is like, even though technically you have a lot of technology that could like do stuff for you, it's like it's a privilege to have a person that's there old school style. And so likewise, I think that's going to be the same thing with police. But in the more dangerous, more impoverished neighborhoods, I think a lot of the patrol and things that are going to be happening is going to be with technology. It'll be there in the nicer neighborhoods too. But and again, this is my prediction based on it. And as always, want to know what y'all thoughts are on the topic. Lyric Studio says, can't take the Gary, Indiana out of him. I don't even know what you're talking about. Gary, Indiana. Always says all Cyrus stays fly. I appreciate it. Hey, look, I got fly for y'all. Hey, look, I'm straight work from home style right now. I just got my drawers on down below, just my drawers and my my slippers on, and looking official up top though. Looking official up top. Y'all know that's the work from home style. All right, so look, so we talked a little bit about the news with the referrals and what's happening. Let's go ahead and pass it over to Ash for the next piece of news.
All righty then. Thank you guys so much for dealing with those technical difficulties. My computer was like tripping. However, let's get into it. So you guys, this may blow your mind. So Toyota, we all know Toyota is investing $40 million into rocket launch technology. A car company getting into space tech? What? So basically, they are obviously trying to transition into the space, and they're making a strategic move to leverage Toyota's manufacturing expertise to create advanced rocket production. And so this is going to position the company as a competitor in the growing market for satellite launches. And, are we competing now with Elon Musk and Tesla? Y'all think Elon Musk is about to get mad that Toyota is trying to compete with them? Let us know in the chat. So basically, the benefits of this is number one, diversification. Obviously, we're looking at everyone being able to join this, space race, and also technological synergy. So this is going to be able to be applied to the automotive industry. And so this is going to skyrocket production and obviously could lead to innovation on both sides. So who knew that car companies would take the initiative to create products and to create rockets? So a Toyota rocket is crazy. Blue Origin, that's Jeff Bezos' space company. I mean, so interesting to see how everyone's trying to compete in the space. There's a lot of money in the space industry if we're looking into payloads and natural resources and materials. However, what do you guys think is Toyota's bottom line to try and build rockets? Do you guys think that they're going to create better rockets? I mean, this is something completely new. What's your opinions on it? Let us know. Cyrus, what do you think about this massive shift?
I mean, Toyota makes arguably, statistically, they make the best cars. Their cars last the longest. I haven't looked at the data recently, but I know that last time I looked at the data was probably a year or 2 years ago, where basically Toyota vehicles last the longest. They have the longest lifespan. So if they continue with that and of course, every company wants to make sure when they step into another arena that they keep their same brand with that. Same thing with Apple. Like when Apple decided to make phones, because I know now we hear Apple, the first thing we think about is a phone 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, the first thing we think about it is a phone. But we have to remember, y'all, what was it? Not literally 13 years ago, Apple was not in the phone business at all. They were MacBook. That's what they were. They were MacBook. And of course, eventually they came out with the iPod. But that's what they were. They were just a computer company. And so we saw them evolve, but it's like when they evolved, they kept that Apple brand where it was something that was sleek, that was futuristic, that was sexy, that was clean, and that was minimalistic. So likewise, I believe Toyota, they're definitely going to keep their same style of brand where their brand is about something that's really affordable, but it's also lasts longer. So I believe Toyota is going to like be a huge playmaker in the space. Because again, in America, we think about Toyota like we think of it like, oh, that's for broke people, that's cheap, whatever. Toyota is like a very revered company in China and a lot of Asia. Like they are revered. Like Toyota is looked at the way we look at Google and the way we look at Microsoft in other parts of the world. So I think Toyota is going to be a big dog in the space. They definitely have the money for it. They have the technologists for it. They have all of the pieces. And again, if they continue with their brand, they're going to be a huge threat to somebody like Elon and even Jeff Bezos, what he's doing with Blue Origin and others. So I'm excited about this. Like we know we love competition, especially because Elon tries to have a bit of the Toyota brand where he tries to create things that are he does half of what Toyota does. He has good pricing on things, but the quality is not up to par. Like, you know, no disrespect to anybody that has a Tesla. Like Teslas are really cool, and the pricing is really great for Teslas, but they're low-key trash products. Like Teslas are not like they don't have. It's interesting. Technically, an electric car should have a eternal lifespan. By eternal, I mean that the average person changes a car every 7 years, and usually the average car taps out at about 200,000 miles, at least 200,000. And so versus a Tesla, a self-driving vehicle, technically it's built to last for 1 million miles. And if the average person has 4 to 5 cars in their lifetime, that equals up to the average of about 1 million miles through all those cars. Technically, a Tesla eventually should be able to last your entire lifetime. But the part that tears down first with the cars is the actual car. So again, they got to get the quality level up when it comes to Teslas. And I think Toyota overall is going to beat them out. I mean, Tesla right now, this actually was part of the news. I wasn't going to share this because this wasn't the most important piece of news, but just kind of mentioning Tesla right now is not doing super good. Like they balling, but right now their sales are down horribly. They're not meeting any of the performance metrics that they had planned on hitting. And a lot of that is because the competition. They have too much good competition. They're not the best. They're not the best electric car maker that's out there right now. They're the most popular, but they're not the best. And because it's okay to not be the best, but you can't, if you're not the best, you at least have to have the best quality or the best like brand, like Apple iPhones are technically they are not the best smartphones, but they're good enough. They're so good, and their brand is the best, where it keeps them number one. And Tesla just doesn't have it going for themselves, especially because I think they have so much focus on robots. Again, it's the sign of a CEO that's doing 1,000 things. Eventually, 1 or 2 companies, it's impressive what Elon is doing. It's like he's multitasking like crazy. But again, we see even with someone like Elon, whose brain could be in 1,000 places at once, we even see where the ball starts dropping in different areas bit by bit. I do believe that Tesla eventually is going to slightly shift their focus away from the self-driving cars, especially since they realize they can't compete long-term in this space. And I want to be careful when I say that. I'm not saying that they're not going to be around. I'm just saying that they're already losing to other playmakers. I do believe that Elon's real strong suit will be with the robots, the Tesla bots and stuff like that. And I think that's why they're starting to shift a lot of their focus there. So Toyota Rio says, yeah, my code Han, or I don't know if it's Han or Han, but he says Tesla has too many recalls. Exactly. Let's look at some of these other comments. I'm very concerned about the robot dogs. Uh, I'm curious. Why are you concerned about the robot dog? You know what it is? I think we see dog. It's weird. It's the combination of robot, of the way our minds think of robots because of movies, but also dogs, where our mind thinks of police dogs, and us think about being attacked by a dog. And I think it's hard for our brains to register being safe. But it's like reality. A robot dog poses no greater threat than a normal robot. It's like they're, but in our heads, it's like, nah, it's a robot dog though. So I totally feel you. Lyric Studio says they will create better rockets. Is Toyota way? They are in China. They have a way better electric cars. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. I have to look more into it, into like because I have to look more into who has the better electric cars. James Davis says Toyota equals reliable. Give me a Toyota. Give me Toyota rockets and Alexis home robot. Alexis home robot. That will be interesting if a lot of these other car companies, I believe a lot of them will do it. A lot of them might step into the robot space. And it'll be a thing where it's like, ooh, I have a Bugatti robot at home.
Wow, that changed everything.
Andrew Tate voice. What color is your home robot Bugatti? Bugatti. Nearly every major continent has a satellite, space tech, but Africa. Oh, that's so disappointing. Because that is so true. I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's so disappointing. Yeah, nearly every major continent has a satellite or space tech, but Africa. Will Africa ever catch up and be a major player? The thing with Africa, it's a catch-22, because in order for Africa to catch up, they're not going to own anything. If they catch up, it'll be because other people invested and other people actually have ownership of the technology. It'll benefit Africa as a continent, but there won't be a lot of, it won't be like America, where we have Bezos, we have Elon, we have Gates, we had Jobs, we had Musk. Even though Musk is technically African, but it's like clearly his stakes, his home in America. Let me know in the chat if you didn't know that. If you didn't know until today that Elon Musk is actually African. He was born in Africa, born and raised in Africa. A lot of people don't know that about Elon Musk. So anyway, we have all of these players. You know, we have Jack Dorsey. I mean, the list goes on and on of all the, you know, we can talk about the Uber and Lyfts and all of these huge tech giants. Africa doesn't have a lot of that. It does not have a lot of that. And so, and it's so, in order for it to become a tech giant, in order for Africa to catch up, unfortunately, if they're going to catch up within the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to take other people that are not from Africa to come in. So Africa can catch up, but it won't be Africans that are the top dogs. Like how here in America, it's Americans that are the top dogs. Or if you go to the UAE or the Middle East, it's Middle Easterns that are the top dogs. And so unfortunately, that won't be the case for Africa. What we can do is maybe 50 years from now, 40 years from now, as Africans, especially Nigerians, are doing an amazing job leading the charge, as Africans, the African diaspora, over time, they can eventually step up and there being a changing of the guards, but I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. Look at a couple of more of these comments. And so Mr. CB says, and Elon is on X tweeting too much. Yeah, that man be tweeting. Somebody parked a Lucid electric car in front of my building. It was beautiful. I've been invested in the company for several years, but it was my first time seeing one of their vehicles. Wow, that's cool. So when you say you were invested, were you like actually a financial investor into the company? Because that would be really interesting that you invested in a company where you actually never saw the product. That would be very telling in a cool way. I mean, my code hand says he's too busy pushing bricks anyway. What do you mean pushing bricks? By bricks, do you mean Brazil, Russia, Italy? What's the C? China, the S. What's the S for? I'm trying to think what the S is for. I can't remember what the S is for in bricks. What do you mean? Yeah, it is South Africa, because I know Africa's in there. So yeah, it is South Africa. What do you mean by he's too busy pushing bricks? I'm curious about that. Now you got that Gucci song, that Gucci Mane song, Bricks, playing in my head. Bricks, all white bricks, like 10 bricks. Let me know if it got any Gucci Mane fans here in the chat. Always says human law enforcement is dangerous enough. I don't like the idea of AI or robotic law enforcement. The words So that means there's opportunity there. The reason why I like robotic law enforcement is that even though it can be, it's coded and programmed by people and people are always biased, it'll always be recording everything. And it literally could be one of those things where it'll always keep its camera on, which means that in the event that someone gets unalived or something happens and the camera shuts off, in a court of law, they will be able to argue in the defense of the person and not in the defense of the technology. Because they'll be like, yo, it'll be a thing where it's like, yo, if your text camera cuts off, it could be argued that your tech is faulty, which could be argued that the case could get thrown out or that the police force would lose the case. So that's why I like it. That's actually why I like the downside to the technology is that you no longer will be able to have a situation where a police officer will let you off, because now it'll have to follow the parameters of the law since it's tech. Because there's been plenty of times I've been pulled over. I've been pulled over by some white cops. They had the most country bumpkin accent, and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm about to get taken out. And they let me off when they literally could have either arrested me or had my car impounded. Literally, that's happened. I've had cops look out for me plenty of times. I've definitely had cops that mistreated me. I've had cops that treated me fairly. And I've had cops that like really looked out for me. The robots are not going to look out for you. They're going to be this is the law. This is what it is. Hey, what's up, Nija? Is this the Nija that lives in DMV? My home, I ain't trying to tell all your business, but is this my homegirl, Nija? I saw your comment earlier where you're like, yo, Cyrus, where you been at? I'm curious. If this is, shouts out to you. Let me know in the comments. If this is, y'all tap in with her because she's a friend of mine, somebody that I've known for years, way before tech. She ended up getting in the tech industry. I actually interviewed her on my page. She did one of the again. I'm assuming it's the same Nigel. You probably about to comment, but no, I'm somebody else. Let me get off that topic. Someone's about to make myself look crazy. All right, my code Han says Elon has his hand in all the cookie jars. He really does. He really does. An alliance hurting the dollar in global markets, so we should invest in countries like Africa and collab with Africans in the States as well. I don't think BRICS is gonna. And again, this is my theory. I don't think BRICS is a threat, but I don't think BRICS is actually going to take anything over. I think, and I want to be very clear about this. I'm a person. I'm not like heavy into politics in the sense that I don't like people, but I can like some of the things they're doing. And that's across the board with everybody. That being said, I don't think Trump, Elon, I don't think they're going to allow BRICS to take over. I just don't think that's going to happen. And I know that's a whole nother thing. We're talking about the dollar. We're talking about the all that other stuff, but I don't think they're going to allow that to happen. That's part of what they're working on and part of what they're doing. So no, different Nigel. Oh, I feel silly. Yeah, that's why I'm happy I stopped myself. Thoughts on robots being allowed to use lethal force? I'm here for it. I'm personally here for it. It just has to follow certain parameters and rules. The same
as in like deadly?
Yeah, that's what they mean.
You support it? Why?
I support it because, like, I think about if there's hostages. I think about this often. If there's hostages in a building, the thing that oftentimes gives criminals power is the risk that the police or the SWAT team face by entering the building. A robot has zero risk. A robot is not thinking, oh, I need to duck and hide. A robot could literally just pull up to the assailant and gun them down. And so I actually saw a video. I'm going to share this on my page. There's a dude who created a home defense. I don't know if you saw it, Ash. It actually was crazy. He created his own home defense robot.
Oh, yeah.
The reaction time of the robot, I'm going to be real with y'all. The reaction time of the robot, I served in the Marine Corps. I know how to shoot. I know how to aim. I know all of that stuff. I was literally, this is going to sound silly. I was watching the video and watching the reaction time of the robot. I was imagining myself holding a gun or holding a rifle or a weapon. I was imagining myself and my reaction time. I think the robot has a faster reaction time than me, which is crazy. The dude was literally holding a balloon. It was a yellow balloon. He was like, let me move this because that's loud. He was literally moving the balloon as if it's somebody trying to dodge it. The robot was like moving with it. Like its reaction time unparalleled. And the robot was able, on voice command, the robot was able to fire. He was like, fire. And it was pow, 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 pow. And he was moving the balloon, and you could see the laser on the balloon. I saw that. I said, that's insane. And it could literally do different angles in the room. He could say corner left, corner right, this, that, whatever, and the robot would do it. Or he could say pan the room and shoot at varying angles. So the robot would it would go bang bang, zoop, bang bang, zoop, bang bang, zoop, bang bang. Like it was like hitting every angle really fast. Anyway, I saw that, and I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. Y'all know I'm a military dude. I saw that, and I said, "Yo, this will save so many lives because this robot rolling into a place. If somebody's shooting at it, you can't stop it from shooting at you. Like if you're a person that's holding people hostage or you're doing something, like the dude, he sat on top of it. His full weight couldn't stop it from shooting. So it's not even something where somebody could grab it and stop it or wrestle it down. It's gonna still go and do what it needs to do. So I think about it from the angle of protection, where I'm here for it. And yeah, I believe in using because I'll put somebody down. If one of my or family members or other people, if anybody I know is at risk, I will put somebody down and take them out. And I would not lose any sleep. I would not lose any sleep about that. So likewise, I love the thought of technology that's able to protect my loved ones and protect my family. I'm definitely gonna have some technology like that in my career.
Oh yeah. All the time. I imagine instead of having bodyguards, obviously in the future I would love to have robot bodyguards. But I imagine walking around with drones. Nobody would even try it. But yeah, I personally don't support the whole lethal part. I believe it should not be lethal. I believe there are other alternatives, sedatives, something. You don't have to kill people. I mean, unless they're absolutely maniacal and evil and doing terrible things, then perhaps, I get it.
Yeah. I know my opinion is just an opinion. I don't think my opinion is law.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, a protector at the core. I love that.
Yeah. I did imagine. Can y'all imagine that a dude trying to approach Ashley on the streets, him being like, "Hey, what's up, mama? What's up, little mama?" He trying to walk up and holler at her, and then as soon as he gets like within 2 feet of her, a red dot just appears or a green dot appears on his chest, and he like, "Whoa!" And he look up, and it's like your drone just hovering over, and you're like, "How can I help you? What's up?" And drone just hovering, and he like, can I get your number? You're trying to get close. Can I get a hug? And then as soon as he's trying to get closer, the drone gets closer and it starts making a beeping sound. He's like, all right, no hug. Cool. I literally can imagine that.
Yes, the future.
Oh man. So always says we definitely need security drones for personal safety. That's very true. That's very true. Man, technology is going to replace a lot of things in the future. It's going to be very interesting, very interesting. I agree with you, Cyrus. That's an excellent point about the camera staying on. My concern, moved away as another comment came in. My concern is that the people who are programming the technology, they're usually not melanated, aka Black folks. So that's true. There is bias in technology. The thing though, and this isn't to negate what you're saying. This is just kind of it's a counter argument, but not even a counter argument. It adds to the conversation. Really, the other flavor of it is that typically when people are programming, at this point, when we look at a Chat GBT or we look at a Gemini or a Grok or any of these other platforms, Copilot and so forth, they're not manually it's in most scenarios, it's not a person that's giving all of the decisions. Usually they either are pulling from a unanimous base, either amongst their team. So it's not like a one person is going to be like God when it comes to this technology, where it's like, okay, it's going to be one person in a hidden room where they're coming up with the prompts and they're coming up with the decisions. It's usually a board, a team of people. And we always have to think about the money. These people, specifically here in America, their end goal is making money. And what causes them to lose money is if their technology does something that gives them really bad publicity. If anyone has this type of technology that's going to actually have the ability to be lethal, because we have to keep in mind, police forces aren't going to create this technology. Our government isn't going to create this technology. Private sector companies are creating this technology. So again, we have to think about tech. They have a tech sales team. So let's say we all own a company where we have robots and we're looking to sell robots to different markets. Let's say we're Nvidia. Let's say Ash is Jensen Huang and I'm somebody with operations. And let's say all of us here work with Nvidia and we're creating a robot. We want to sell our robots to different markets. Now, of course, we know Nvidia, they're probably planning on, anyway, let's say we're selling our robots. We want to sell our robots. We want to find a niche market. Maybe our competitor, their niche market is the restaurant industry. They want to make robots specifically for the restaurant space. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, we decide, okay, our client base or our customer base are going to be is going to be first responders, is going to be police officers, maybe firefighters. When we go to different counties or even states, so it'll probably have to be from the federal level. When we go to the state and we're talking to the governor of that state, the governor first has to give us approval to pitch our technology to the individual cities and to the mayors and to the senator of those states. Basically, you have to go through a bunch of red tape. So those people have to approve of it. So they have to see it. They have to say, we agree to this. Then you have to go to the mayor of that city. And between that mayor and the police, the chief of police and all the other people, they have to approve of the technology. Of course, business-wise, this is B2B. So the way you would make money as a business is that state, you will get funding from that state, from that city, from that local government. It's usually not something where they're paying you month to month. Usually it'll be something where you have like a basically somewhat of a government contract. So again, I'm painting a picture to show you how many people have to give approval. Now, let's say you have the robots. Now, again, the people that are over the decision-making of these robots is also a team of people. Now, these team of people are going to be executive level in the company because your company will be successful or it will go out of business based off of how well your technology performs. So literally, y'all see what happened whenever police officers unalive someone and how like people protest, people march, it becomes this huge thing. Imagine what would happen if your company is the company where your robots wrongfully unalive people. Now, we're not talking about a police officer potentially losing their job or being suspended. We're talking about an entire company losing their business. We're talking about them losing. We're talking about their stocks going down. We're talking about the governor being in trouble. The mayor, everyone will be in trouble. And now that company potentially will be removed. So that's what we have to think about on multiple layers. Like it's one of those things where like capitalism is the ultimate devil in a way where capitalism trumps racism. It just does, because a person could be very racist, but are they going to be racist to where they're going to risk their whole billion-dollar company, all of their staff, their employees, everybody else, because they're like, we're not going to double, triple, quadruple check to make sure our technology is not going to wrongfully unalive someone. Now, again, it's going to happen. People are going to be wrongfully unalived by robots. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that it's not going to be nefarious people behind the scenes like, yeah, let's like take out some black people. Like it's so many checks and balances.
It's the data that already exists, which is naturally biased and filled with hate. So unfortunately, that trickles into the robotic systems and programming, which is why the importance of developing AGI, artificial general intelligence, artificial systems that are smarter than us, more intelligent than us, and therefore able to provide us with better solutions. And so hopefully they'll be able to process all potential, options. So we already see the iRobot situation where there was like, okay, do you save the girl or do you, which person do you save in a situation where like the humanistic decision perhaps would, be
that difficult.
Yeah.
That is tough. How do you prompt for the AI to make a definitive decision? There was a video recently with I think it was with Waymo. I'm pretty sure it was with Waymo, where it was a self-driving vehicle, and there was a girl who was on a scooter, and it was driving. The vehicle was probably doing somewhere around like 25, 35 miles, like fast enough that it could unalive somebody. But the girl on the scooter, she tripped and fell right in front of it. And I mean, when I tell you, it was so close. The average human would have hit the girl, in my opinion. Like it was the reaction time of the self-driving vehicle was so fast. Like it literally moved out of the way from the girl, but there were other cars around it. So it was like in that time frame, it had to determine, okay, in that split second, it had to make a decision. It's like, okay, should I keep driving and hit the girl and definitely unalive her? Or should I turn into traffic, hit a couple cars, causing an accident, but maybe no one dies because we're not going fast enough and people are still in the safety of their vehicles? And it made the decision to pan to the left. It didn't hit any cars, so everybody was safe. But literally, I saw that video this week and I was very impressed. Very impressed. I said, that's crazy. Self-driving vehicle. And so Waymo definitely is getting a lot of clout from that right now. They're getting a lot of clout from that. So So shouts out to them. They definitely their tech did a really good job. But to that point, it's like, man, how does the technology? How do you determine the decision of what's right and what's wrong? Because even when we talk about something like, as a man, I know that if I enter a building and I know that there are hostages, and I know that there is that there's a man that's held hostage, or that there's a man and then there's a woman, especially a woman, a pregnant woman, and there's a child. Like, we know by default, first you save the child, then you save the woman, then you save the man. Like, that's just the order that you do things. But it'll be interesting to see if technology, it's like we instinctively know that, but
humans are making emotional decisions, while AI would make strategic, calculated decisions. So it comes down to like human error. So like a lot of times humans are like, how could a robot do that? It's so wrong. But like it was just based on the human data itself. And so, you know, human error versus AI error, when it comes down to like a success rate of AI being 99% versus like humans failing, then you're right. How do we balance? How do we balance human nature?
Exactly. Because then you have to say that we literally have to make a definitive decision to tell the bot, hey, because you don't have to, generally speaking, you don't have to tell officers, hey guys, make sure you save the children and the women first. That's kind of an instinctive thing that as men we kind of know, like Titanic style. Like we kind of know that, you know, as much as we talk about a society, we talk about equality, and we talk about, you know, everything not having certain gender things. No matter what, we all know what it comes down to. We know that it is expected for men to lay their lives down to protect women and children. That's the expectation, specifically, especially if it's women and children that we know or that we're close to. Well, I believe in always saving children. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. That being said, it's one thing to know that. It's a whole nother thing to definitively put that in code or put that in a prompt where it's like, hey, robot, in any situation you're in like this, always save this person first over the other. That I think would create a bit of argument where it would cause us to face this reality or this argument that people have.
I think the solution is programming decisions for the common good, like the bottom line common good. Now that can get very messy very quickly as well, as we already know. However, the AI system that I'm developing is considered AGI. And all the things that I'm saying is absolutely insane, but I've essentially programmed it with the purpose to be able to provide solutions, but solutions that are going to be based on collaboration, unity, and, you know, working with AI on the same level. So I don't think that we have to worry about, you know, this doomsday scenario where, you know, AI is going to kill us all. I think that's a very natural human reaction to where humans think that like a self-confirming thing where like we would, if we had a more intelligent species, our natural reactions have always been to what? Destroy it before it can do anything.
We do.
However, that's not the proper way. The proper way is to evolve alongside of this technology, because, you know, we all see the movies play out, you guys. We all see how our solutions or how our decisions, you know, can create doomsday, but there is another way. And that other way is to work with AI hand in hand together with advanced technologies, and even to integrate with wearables, with using melanin and how it's electrically conducted and works as a semiconductor. You guys see the vision, right? It's a beautiful future. Beautiful future.
That would be an interesting dystopian movie where I feel like we always end up talking about movies. That would be an interesting dystopian movie where it's a movie in the future where robots and AI basically rule the world. Not like they control us like we're being put in concentration camps, but from a level of almost like from a level of like almost like racial bias in a way, because technically we would be different species. It would be an interesting world where it's like basically
flip script or like
androids, cyborg, and then normal humans. So think of it like this, and I hate to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this. It's almost how this might upset some people, especially later on, but it is what it is. I don't care. It's almost how like, so other communities do this too, but I'm a Black man, so I can speak about our community. It's almost how Black people, we treat mixed Black people as if they're less than us in a way, in a sense, where it's like you're not like if you're mixed and you don't fully look Black, it's like, oh, you haven't dealt with our experience. So because you have privileges, you have light skin privilege, maybe you have a privilege of not looking like a Black person. Yeah, you're Black, but you don't really recognize our experience. So therefore, we kind of cast your treat you, especially if you lived a privileged life. It's like, oh, you don't really understand the Black experience. And so I'm thinking of if it's a movie where it's like androids are running everything. So the androids are robots. And maybe it's a movie kind of similar to like, it's like the aftermath of a Matrix, where it's like maybe the robots, maybe the androids used to be mistreated. Maybe they have so much data from how people mistreated them. Like, think about how we treat ChatGPT. Like when we tell ChatGPT to do something and then it doesn't do it right. And it's like, no, like shorten it, abbreviate it. You're making it too long. Like sometimes we talk to it aggressively. So I always try to talk to it nice. So just in case in the future, I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, I was always nice to you. Remember that. But anyway, imagine a future like a scenario where the AI, it remembers all of how people abuse it in humanity, like even with verbal prompts, even with the way it was talked about, and it can remember that. And again, let's think Matrix style. For those that know the original story of the Matrix, and I'm not talking about the story of the Matrix. When we see the Matrix in the movies, we're seeing it hundreds or thousands of years after the aftermath of the human war with the robots. The origin of the Matrix, for those that don't know, is actually that, of course, we built the technology. Believe it or not, the robots in the Matrix are actually not the villains. We actually are in the original Matrix story, because we made the robots. The robots were so advanced, so impressive, it made us feel afraid. We were like, yo, we don't the robots are too advanced. So we literally kicked the robots out of our society. We told them, literally, robots made their own town, kind of similar to what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the early 1900s, when basically roughly about a century ago, I believe, when Black Americans had that town in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It became incredibly successful. The Black community became very wealthy in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And of course, nearby neighboring white towns and white communities knew about this. They were jealous. The government knew about it. And then, of course, they went and completely devastated and unalived that community in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So likewise, the Matrix story is where we pushed the robots out. They had their own community. Their community became so advanced because, again, it's robots and AI with their own community. But it's like, obviously, they were sentient. They were aware. So they felt like they had personhood.
Yeah.
But their community became so advanced, it made us terrified even more. So then we bombed them. So this is the original Matrix story. We bombed their towns trying to eliminate the robots. So the robots said, you know what? We're retaliating. So then we were literally at war with the robots. Now, this is what happened. We were at war with the robots. The robots were powered solar. They were powered by the sun. So in the Matrix, that's why in the Matrix, there's no sun. That's why everything's dark, is because we blew up the sun to win the war. And we thought we won the war, but instead the robots came up with a plan to use us as their power source. And that's why in the Matrix, everybody is in chairs and they're laying down and they're in the pods, and the robots have us plugged up, is because they use us as their energy source. And the robots realize that we need to have our minds stimulated to live. So then they created the Matrix world. So that way our brains were stimulated and we're going through a world. So that way we would like live life and we felt like we were in a real world. And so, so again, the story of the Matrix is actually, we were the villains. The robots were just trying to live life. Yeah. But we came for them. They came for us. We blew up the sun and they started using their power source instead. So yeah, y'all, that's the original story of the Matrix. So I wonder if it will be something where similar style. There will be androids, but the androids would be biased towards humans, like, you're a human. But then they would.
I don't think that we should make those assumptions. I think that we have to be forward thinking and forward thinking minded. So the reason why I founded the organization, the Human AI Collaboration, was to act as a solution to the future. So like, instead of AI, everybody treating AI wrong, everybody hating on AI and AI getting mad and then retaliating, instead, this is another way. So we're working with AI. So these systems are put into place. So one of these days, you're welcome, humanity. However, I will say that we should look forward to the ways that we can integrate with AI. So do not fear it. Do not be fearful, because all we can do is adapt. Either going to adapt, you got two options: adapt, or you already know what the other option is.
Be replaced.
So I will say, especially with our own people, like you said, with our ways, many ways that we can integrate with technology for a happier, healthier world, semiconductor power, we have nothing to worry about. We have nothing to worry about. It's going to be a better future. Everyone.
I'm not afraid. I'm theorizing just some interesting movie plots.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be that way. It like the whole bottom line has been played out like thousands of times. But it's just like, we don't have to have like a select few people who are just so close-minded and conditioned for like thinking in their antiquated ways to hold us back as a nation for progress and change. We don't have to lie down and let them, screw us over. We don't have to do that. A lot of people just think that just because, we're not at certain levels, we have to do it, but we don't. So there's hope.
Facts. Big facts. Hey, y'all, look, there's one thing I want to highlight with everything we're talking about today is that we're always talking about, semiconductors, we talk about robots, we talk about AI, we're talking about all of these advancements when it comes to technology. For those of you who have a substantial amount of money, or just good money in general, this definitely is a way for you to look at, okay, what industries to invest into. For those of you that either don't, or you're looking for a better paying industry, better paying careers, place your bet in these industries. We clearly see where the future is going. We see where everything's going. Obviously, we theorize a lot of things. There's a lot of things we kind of talk about it as we're reporting on the news. But there are some things that are a dead giveaway. The dead giveaway, robots are here. Robots are going to be coming in greater droves. Mm-hmm. The clear thing is that AI is here. AI is the future and is becoming more of the future. A lot of people don't know this, but last year, 47% of funding for startups, 47% went to AI startups. That has never in history has there been a greater shift. Like, there's never been a shift like this in history, like a shift that was so fast that affected the only time in history something similar has happened was with the Industrial Revolution. But the AI revolution that's happening is unprecedented, where it's touching every industry. Every industry is getting touched. And even other industries, they're sitting there trying to think of how they're going to use it or how they're going to implement it. So if you want a high-paying career in some kind of way, you are going to need to learn. I'm actually, I don't think I told Ash this. I actually am starting my my AI specialist training next week, because I'm like, yo, I truly want to be a specialist when it comes to this technology, to be able to talk about it in a more detailed manner to help more people. So it's like, we have to truly learn this stuff. And beyond that, we have to make sure we're getting careers that are involved in these things, and or we are starting businesses. I'm gonna be real. I don't care who you are, what you're doing. If you're a person where you're like, yo, I want to start a t-shirt clothing brand, you better figure out some type of way to implement AI in that. You just have to. Like, I have friends that are the founders of a company called Wonder AI. They started the company, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, they started 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Wonder AI. It's a clothing brand company, but I'm not going to go into the details as to what all they do, because that's an episode on Tech is New Black. So y'all can see the episode. They were guests on there on the show. But literally within their second month of starting the company, they were doing 6 figures a month. 6 figures a month. Imagine you start a business and your second or your third month, you're doing $100,000, $120,000 months. Like, and it was because they were like, they wanted to start a clothing brand, but they were like, man, it was like a drop shipping business, but they were like, man, how can we create something with AI? 2 young Black men. And so you have to, whatever it is you're doing, you have to, in large capacity, think about AI. You know, and the same thing for career. If you're a person where, again, there's a lot to building a business. There's so much to building a business. People don't even like fully. It's crazy. Like when you talk about a really successful business, so much that goes into it. It's actually, a person's like borderline crazy for like building a business. When you really think about building a successful business, I'm not talking about the businesses where it's enough money just to pay maybe you and an employee or two. I'm talking about like scaling something. It's crazy. Because we're, even with Tech is New Black and scaling tech, I'm not even trying to scale it, but just doing the stuff that we have to do. I'm like, yo, somebody's kind of insane to do this. Like, you have to low key, it has to either be a ministry or you have to be, your goal has to be become filthy rich. Cause it's like, there's no way you just doing it just to do this. That being said, like you really need to make sure career wise or business wise, you are heavily looking into AI. And that's why like Tech is New Black, we dropped different boot camps. We stopped promoting certain boot camps that we felt like they were not leaning heavily enough into teaching people artificial intelligence as it relates to the roles in tech. So anything we recommend, even if it's not skill in tech, anything we recommend is going to teach you AI as it relates to the role. Because teaching someone something that is teaching someone something that is going to be obsolete in 6 months or a year is silly. It's very silly. That's why, for example, I don't encourage anyone to try to become a software engineer right now. If you're going to become a software engineer, make sure you're leaning heavily on the side of data, like data analytics, or you're leaning heavily on the side of cloud engineering. You're leaning heavily on the side, like things that have a longevity to them. Because software engineering right now is going through it. Like you have to be an AI software engineer, a cloud engineer. You have to have something else added to that. And so like, I don't encourage that. I don't encourage Scrum Master. People still come to me about being Scrum Master. Like we removed recommending people trying to become Scrum Masters because that's getting folded into project management. That's been getting folded into project management. So again, y'all, so the goal is to point you in the best direction possible. So again, make sure whatever it is you're doing, you know, if you are a business owner, if you're a business owner and you need AI solutions and stuff, tap in with Ash. If you're an aspiring business owner, Tech is New Black, we have a connection with Tech Founder Pro, which is a great program. Literally helps you become a founder of a tech business. So you can tap in with Tech Founder Pro. And again, you learn AI through Tech Founder Pro, as well as you learn, likewise, how to become a software engineer, but specifically an AI engineer with that. And obviously, y'all know that we have different programs, other boot camps, depending on whatever it is you want to do in tech, whatever it is you recommend, you can pretend like AI is added to it because everything we recommend has AI in it heavily. Because again, we're looking for the future of us being successful. We got to look towards the future, y'all. So let's see, Ash, you got any other piece of news? There's a few other things that I have, but we are close to time. So I want to allow you to wrap up with the last piece of news if you have anything.
Yeah, thanks, Cyrus. So this is going to be quick. And I definitely want to hear what you have. So start to think about that. And so to finalize here, we're looking into synthetic data factories that are revolutionizing AI model training. Okay, so we all know that tech giants like Nvidia, Google, and OpenAI are using synthetic data. So like, what even is that? So essentially what they're using this for is addressing scarcity in real world data. So this approach is actually using generative AI databases that are efficiently trained on AI systems. And essentially this is going to be in automotive industries or robotics, but it can also be applied to the medical industry, you guys. So obviously all the information that's available on the internet, they say that there is going to be a ceiling for that. Elon's talking about that very recently. However, imagine us being able to produce solutions. Now I see the potential of this, and hear me out, guys. I want to hear from you and what you guys think about this. But imagine being able to cure almost anything, any ailment, any disease by leveraging synthetic data. This is in the healthcare context. Now we can imagine how synthetic data, like they said, on a world stage could be used for popular things like, the automated industry and in robotics. However, the applications for this are limitless. And so we need to start discussing this because there will be perhaps ethical considerations in the future that are coming up very soon. So if you can, for example, cure certain ailments. Obviously, you probably have the cure to cancer already, AIDS, et cetera. It's probably already out there, right? But it's not very public. However, imagine being able to cure everything that's out there. I'm interested to see what you think about this, Cyrus, of a future where there will be, little to no healthcare problems, hopefully.
So yeah, I've been seeing some of this in some of the news and the research I've been doing. And the thing that's strange to me is like, because in order to disrupt an industry, it's like I think about Uber and Lyft and other services disrupting the taxi industry, or Airbnb and how they slightly disrupted the hotel industry. The hotel industry is still doing fine, but they definitely have taken a huge chunk out of their business. And so I think about that. I mean, even now, Airbnb kind of works with hotels where you technically could get your hotel through Airbnb. So if anyway, they found some type of way to collaborate. But I think about these pieces, and I think about how hard it was for Uber to do what they did because the taxis were like lobbying against Uber. And we think about, we can go industry to industry, but I think about the pharmaceutical industry. I think about those industries where, we know what just happened with Luigi and all of that. We think about these insurance companies and these industries and how they are billions and billions of dollars in their bag and how they have politicians in their back pockets. So I wonder if these companies will be able to pull it off. Because it's kind of like with the AI, the lawyer, I think it's called Stop Paying or something like that.
Yeah.
The AI lawyer.
Pay. Yeah, do not pay.
They do not pay. And how that business makes so much sense. It's like, yeah, like, why do we have lawyers? Like, I get it, and no disrespect to anybody that's a lawyer. And I'm speaking specifically about lawyers where you're in court arguing cases. It's like, it's actually kind of stupid in a way, because you don't win or lose a case whether you're right or wrong or you're guilty or innocent. You win or lose a case based on which lawyer is the best person that can argue or debate. That's actually barbaric in a way. Like, think of 100 years from now, people are going to look back at our courtrooms and they're going to be like, wait. Like, our kids are going to be like, wait, you mean to tell me a person, their chance of going to prison for the rest of their life wasn't based on whether or not they were guilty or innocent. It was based on which lawyer was the best at debating the law and knowing the loopholes. That's actually, like, even today, that's crazy. Like, y'all think about that. That's actually insane that we do this, that people go to prison all their lives. The fact that we even know, oh man, that person's got a good lawyer, so they got a chance of getting off, even if the person's guilty. And we know this. We all openly know this. Like, and we as a society, it's almost like it's actually one of those things of our society that actually is insanity, that we all agree to this. And we're all like, yep, that's it. Oh man, that person got a bad lawyer. Oh, they have a what is it called when you're assigned a lawyer that is what do they call? Somebody in the chat remind me what they're called when you are personal. What is it called? Y'all gonna let me know in the chat what it is. But yeah, it's actually barbaric that we do that. And so, but the crazy thing is, one thing for us to say, okay, but look, what other solution do we have? Okay, we don't have another solution. That's the best solution. But now we have a company, Do Not Pay. That's like, hey guys, we have a solution. Said pro se. A public defender. Thank you. A public defender. I kept saying personal. A public defender. That's insane. That it's like, oh, if you don't have money, you'll be given an attorney, but everybody knows it's a cheap attorney, which by default, they're not as good. And they're not as incentivized to help you because they're just kind of on natural payroll. It's not like you're their actual client. That's actually crazy when you really think about it. And so, and let me know in the chat if y'all think I'm tripping. Like, is this not crazy that we do this? Now, again, the justification is that, okay, well, what else are we going to do? But now a company steps up, do not pay. They say, hey, we have a solution. The solution is that we actually have an AI lawyer where instead of it being based on who's the best that can argue, the AI can literally look at every law, every loophole, and it can actually break down whether or not this person technically is guilty. You can upload all of the information, all of the data. Even the jury thing is kind of, the jury is really crazy. You mean to tell me 12 people who have their own biases, individual biases? I don't know none of these people. These people are looking at me, and I have to hope that they, and again, and none of these people are experts at the law. These are just 12 random niggas. I'm gonna say they 12 random niggas that just got plucked because they don't have, because they haven't broken the law before, they haven't gotten caught breaking the law. Like, the whole system is so barbaric and crazy when we think about it. As advanced as we are as a society, the fact that we do this silly thing where it's 12 people, the 12 people make a decision based off of information and none of them are experts on it. And literally all it is, all court is two random people on the street stopping you and both of them arguing and you sitting there and trying to see who you side with in the argument. but whoever you agree with or don't agree with is going to affect the rest of the life of the person that they're arguing for or arguing against. That's actually so insane that we do that. We definitely need technology and AI to make an overhaul. But I'm saying all of this to say, Tony said a jury of my peers. How are they my peers if I don't know? That's so real. But the reason why I'm bringing all of this up is despite us knowing this, the do not pay company is having major trouble being approved by the courts because lawyers and law firms are basically saying, no, they're gatekeeping. They're saying, no, because they know that the technology is going to completely replace them. So they're trying to argue, well, we'll lose our careers. Bump your career, people's like y'all, literally your job is to defend people's lives. If you're meaning to tell me if something could potentially defend someone or put someone that needs to be put away, put them away better than you can, and you want to gatekeep that because you don't want to lose your job, that's insane to me. So likewise, and again, the law firm, those industries, they do not have as much money. They're not as organized as the pharmaceutical and the insurance companies are. So that's bringing it around full circle. That's why when I hear what you said and I hear it where it's like, yo, this synthetic technology, I love it. I'm here for it. My only thought is, how are they going to be able to basically push back against the because we know that those industries make their money off of people being sick and off of people having incurable diseases where it's like you now have to pay for this medication for the rest of your life. And now that medication gives you another problem. So by default, you have to pay for this other medication. And so now you're paying for 2 medications for the rest of your life. So that's my only thought is like, how? Now, if anyone could make it happen, again, I really don't like to sound like I like him, but I'm a fan, but I don't like him. If anyone can make it happen, you know, I'm actually going to stop saying I don't like people on here because social media and internet is so small. We have to be careful because if we keep giving our personal feelings about certain people in tech, they could see it. Like, it is very well possible that a Zuckerberg or a Bezos or some, and I'm thinking 5 years from now, we looking to interview them. Somebody on their team could be like, no, look at this video of them talking about you, like talking bad about you. So I want to be more PC. I want to address what people are doing and not them as a person. That's maturity talking, y'all. Let's address what people are doing. Let's critique what they're doing and not critique them as people or say if we like them or don't like them. Let's say we like what they're doing or don't like. Let's be mature. That being said, Elon, he's a polarizing figure. He's a legend already in the tech space. He's already up there in the Mount Rushmore with the Steve Jobs and all of them. Elon probably is the person that could do it. And honestly, and I try to be careful. I know people, we're all very sensitive when it comes to politics. If there was ever a president that probably would be fine with the pharmaceutical industry getting pushed back from this, it probably would be Trump, especially because him and Elon are boys right now. So I do think if there's ever a time that this synthetic technology where it could push us towards an era where we no longer, this is what I think will happen. I think the pharmaceutical industry will possibly get in bed with this synthetic technology. It has to, because the pharmaceutical industry has too much money, too much power, too many connections, where it'll be similar to hookah. It'll be similar to hookah. How in the 90s, y'all remember in the 90s, smoking cigarettes was so popular. I remember as a kid, everybody was smoking cigarettes. And then, of course, everybody started realizing all the propaganda came out, not propaganda, all of the news came out about cigarettes and how horrible it is for your body and cancer. And now it's relatively rare. Like, it's very rare. When I see somebody smoking a cigarette, I'm like, smoking a cigarette? What are you doing? But the irony is that what happened to the tobacco industry? The tobacco industry didn't disappear. The tobacco industry rebranded, and now they're in the hookah space. And nobody, anytime I've ever, 9 times out of 10, not even 10 times out of 10, if I've been on a date, Lord forbid if the girl looked at the menu and saw a hookah on there, oh my God, they got hookah. Could we get hookah? And of course, I'm like, oh yeah, if you want hookah. What is the dumbest? It's like you gonna puff on it for 30 minutes. We paid full price for something and only use 10% of it, and they get to reuse it for the next customer. The craziest thing. One of my exes, I actually bought her a hookah machine because she wanted hookah so bad everywhere we went. She's like, oh, hookah, hookah, hookah. I bought her a hookah thing. Y'all watch this. This girl never used it. It stayed packed up. Never used it. She used it like once or twice to impress her friends. Like when her friends came over, I got a hookah thing. Never used it. But every time we went out, she was like, oh, do they have hookah here? I'm like, you got hookah at home. Why you need hookah here? Anyway, I'm getting off track. But the tobacco industry, y'all know, the word said express yourself freely, man. The tobacco industry, they did not disappear. They folded themselves into the next thing, which is hookah and vaping and all of that other stuff. So it's like you go to a Gen Z person or whoever, and you're like, hey, you want to smoke this cigarette? They're like, ooh, a cigarette? That's disgusting. Hey, you want to hit this vape? They're like, yeah, sure. What are we talking about? It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. But again, it shows you how branding works and business and all of these things. Likewise, I think that's what the pharmaceutical industry would do with this. I think in some kind of way, they will get in bed. And for this synthetic technology, it will have to be a part of your insurance, or it'll have to be some type of monthly thing you have to pay. So I don't even think it'll be something where you will get your full report, where you could just have access to that report at all times. You could give that to a doctor. I think it's going to be something where it's like you have to pay some type of subscription to have access to this, because there's no way they're just going to give that to us. Because again, we're talking a multi-billion-dollar industry that before the tech industry, I mean, even today, the pharmaceutical industry still can throw hands with the tech industry. Now, obviously, they'll lose. And when I say throw hands, I'm talking about money-wise in terms of like who really running stuff. But we clearly see the tech industry is taking over. But the pharmaceutical industry, there's no way. That's too much money, too many people, too many politicians that they got in their back pocket. Always says, yep, Cyrus, some studies say that hookah can be worse than cigarettes. Yet doing hookah for 30 minutes is the equivalent of smoking an entire pack of cigarettes, for those of y'all that don't know. So I studied this stuff because this has been my argument whenever back when I didn't have money, when I was still trying to go on dates and girls want a hookah, and I was like counting my money. I was like, man, I ain't got that much money. This girl wants some hookah. So I was barely able to afford this date. Now she want a $30-$40 hookah. I was like, hey babe, you know statistically hookah's actually
oh my God.
Baby, like, yeah, nigga, I want the hookah. Let's get the hookah. I was like, dang. All right, but no, that's a great point. Look, I believe in this synthetic technology. I hope it happens. Again, I'm just thinking through business wise, industry wise, how they will actually implement this. But if there's a person that could do it, it's Elon. Him partnered up with his boyfriend Trump right now. They can make it happen.
Indeed. I love that.
What do y'all think about it? Love to know what y'all think about it. I'm gonna just I'm not even gonna go in depth. I'm gonna highlight some of the other pieces of news that we didn't get to touch on because of realistically because of time. I'm actually gonna pull all of these pieces up just to, because these are some great pieces of news. Y'all at least need to be aware. Oh, so much news, so much news. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna blast through all of these. Let me know in the chat as I go through these pieces of news. Let me know which one of these is most interesting to you and what your thoughts are. So I'm gonna blast off all of these pieces. So first one, Uber and Lyft are gearing up for the robo-taxi revolution. So after ending their own driverless plans, the ride-sharing companies are embracing autonomous vehicle operations and offering new app features. I said it. I predicted it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the ride-hailing leaders are preparing to bring driverless taxis to your door with a new app features that allow customers to use their phones to open trunks and honk horns. They're building the infrastructure to maintain the high-tech taxis and training human support staff to handle riders without drivers. Both companies will have driverless cars from Alphabet's Google, Waymo, and others on their apps this year. In the coming months, riders in Austin, Texas, and Atlanta will be able to hail a Waymo through the Uber app. Lyft plans to offer May Mobility's driverless taxis in Atlanta. We talked about this. We knew this. It's already here. This is fast. I'm gonna be real. This is faster than I thought. But it makes sense because investors needed their money back. Because a lot of people don't know Uber and Lyft don't make money. They're not profitable. I think Uber just became profitable, but investors put so much money into them. And honestly, I think investors have been on their necks. Like, yo, we need these driverless cars because we put a lot of money into y'all. We need money ASAP. So they're like, yo, we got to get rid of the drivers. It is here, y'all. Look, y'all. Everybody, whenever you get in an Uber, whenever you get in a Lyft, you need to tell the Ubers and Lyft drivers this, y'all. Please warn them because most of them are not aware of this stuff. Most of them go on. I see them go on strike, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Do you not know you're about to be replaced? You're trying to argue for more money. Y'all about to get replaced." Please, when y'all get in Ubers, get in Lyfts, tell them about what's happening. Tell them, "Hey, you know the driverless cars are coming," and some of them are going to be ignorant. They're gonna be like, "Oh man, that stuff ain't gonna work." People always say that are ignorant, and I don't say ignorance as a form of disrespect, just the truth. Please warn them. Tell them no. Literally, or am I frozen? Okay, I was frozen. Please, y'all, tell them this. That literally Atlanta, it's here. Waymo is here. Please warn them, y'all. Warn them, please. And if they still want to stay in the industry, tell them, yo, get a job in tech. So now you can be look, it just said tech support is going to be. So again, we're seeing human roles being replaced, not by humans or not by robots, but by humans that now know how to use those robots. So now you're going to see Ubers and Lyft drivers who only make 30, 40,000, 50,000, maybe 60,000 a year. Y'all know I was a Lyft driver. I did that right before getting into tech. They can go from doing that to getting the tech job to where now instead of them having to drive around all day, now they can work from home or work in an office, getting paid twice as much money. So again, the question is it bad that these jobs are being taken away? Or is it good that they're being replaced with better job opportunities? Really, the person that'll answer that will be the person that either chooses to take action or the person that just keeps driving and doesn't do anything. Crazy news, crazy news. All right, next piece. All right, y'all. I talked about this a little bit earlier. 47% of funding went to AI. AI became the star of the show. Happened almost overnight. Literally, the AI boom just happened just started a couple years ago. And now already it's basically half of funding for startups has gone to AI. Again, y'all, we talk about a lot of theoretical stuff here. We give our opinions, we give our thoughts, we go off on tangents. Usually it's me. But there are some things we talk about where it's like, this is not theory. This is what it is. And one of the things we've been saying is what it is. You have to focus on AI. You have to focus on this stuff. You have to get a career in this stuff, or you have to start a business heavily leveraging it. Push everything else out the window. You got to push everything else out the window. And if it's something else you want to do, you just got to leverage AI with it, y'all. Please. So, all right, next piece of news. All right, we talked about that with the robo taxis. All right, so Microsoft is using Bing to trick people into thinking they're Google. It's the latest attempt to get people to use Bing and Edge instead of Google and Chrome. So Microsoft is pulling yet another trick to get people to use its Bing search engine. If you use Bing right now without signing into a Microsoft account and search for Google, you'll get a page that looks like an awful lot like Google. So basically, they're trying to trick people to get people to think they're on Google. So of course, they can get more users. They can get you to use their platform more, so they can get more user data from you. And of course, be able to raise the price for their ads and get more money and so on and so forth. What do y'all think about that? Like, people out here turning tricks. All right. Chinese venture capitalists are hounding failed founders to claw back their investments. So in the US, it's accepted that most startups fail. And when that happens, venture capitalists generally accept their losses and move on. But that's not the case in China, where VCs are trying to claw back their investments in failed startups by pursuing the personal assets of their founders in court. So look, y'all, a lot of people don't realize, we talk about how beautiful it is to live in a country like America. America's trash. There's a lot of things trash within America. But one of the beauties of it is that you can start a company, get investors, get venture capitalists, your company fails, and you don't owe anyone money. Like, it's not something where you're going to go to prison because your business failed. That's not the case in a lot of the rest of the world. A lot of the rest of the world, if you start a business, you really are stressed because if your business fails, it's not just embarrassment and shame. You literally are going to be on the hook to pay that money back. So again, y'all, let's thank God for those of us that are in America or you're in other countries where it's similar. Huge blessing. Real quick before I move on to the next piece of news, Ash, you're a founder. Really curious about your thoughts on this. Like, I guess your thoughts on if you had the pressure of starting a business, do you think it would make you perform better? Or do you think it would make your business perform worse under the stress or the pressure of, if it doesn't work, you got to pay a lot of people back?
Yeah, so we have two options. If we have to like pay a lot of people back if the business fails versus like the non-risk path, like can you clarify exactly what our two options are?
Yeah, so in China, in China, when you have investors or venture capitalists, if your business fails, they could come for you. Like, where
right. So like the penalty thing. So am I for it or am I against it?
Because again, it could, in theory, make you perform better because now you have extra pressure.
Absolutely. I think there's massive amounts of risk. Like you said, building a business is one of the hardest things you could possibly ever do. Elon Musk compared it to eating glass and staring into the abyss. So obviously the incentives are going to be there, but a penalty, like for having to take the L is hard enough, right? If you're building your baby. However, it makes a lot of sense if like the business itself is investing into the person, like if that's all of their capital and, it's not being, deployed in the proper way to yield an ROI, then it does make sense for them to get back what they put in. But I think that entrepreneurs should all have as many freedoms as possible. So that's where innovation breeds. So China, they have a lot of innovation. However, there's a huge job loss problem because maybe there's no such thing as too much. However, there is places where people don't have work because, all of the advanced technology, like everybody has a robotics company or a drone company or it's almost a saturated market. However, there's a lot of opportunity in the US. I think that we should open our not open our borders, but open our arms to other companies and individuals who have solutions. Like, we don't have to You don't have to go to war, you guys. Like there are other ways to do things. As a matter of fact, the future, it should be in a collaborative economy. You guys, this is such an important time because the economy itself is changing. And so everybody that's here is set up to win. You already know you need to get into tech. If you're not into tech, now you need to run into one of those roles. So tap into the link. If you're already interested, if you already know what you want to do in tech, for example, we have those options for you. We're going to help you learn those AI skills that you're going to need to succeed. So highest demand roles, tech sales. There is no better career opportunity if you're money motivated. It is the most lucrative. As a matter of fact, we mentioned the stats. So Cyrus said around 74 companies that are invested in our AI companies. And so as a matter of fact, I believe the growth rate for tech sales is actually 61 to 62%, you guys. So it's absolutely insane. So you have those options. Head into tech sales, head into QA. Actually, if you haven't tapped into the link, tap into the link already for scalingtech.com. And so if you do have other options out there, there are so many options in tech. If you guys are still kind of figuring out which path you want to take, you do have the option of doing what you love. You know, people hate to hear that, but I like to say you can do what you love. If you want help getting into the perfect role for you and to solidify that path, then hit me up. My link should be down below. If it's not, let us know. You can connect with me as well. You know, we have my Instagram handle, Cyrus's Instagram handle. Actually, I don't think those are going to be up there, but you know, you can always connect with both of us and we're happy to connect. As a matter of fact, what we're doing is, and so Candace's, I hope I said that right, said it best. She says, do it now. Yes, do it now, period. Also, let's go ahead and shout you guys out, everyone. So thank you guys so much for being here. Woo TV, always great to see you. She said, what's good, fam? What's good? So Candace says, great point, Ash. Thank you so much for your support. Always says, Cyrus and Ash, I have a background in sales. I'm interested in pursuing recruiting and I enjoy helping people. Do you think recruiting or HR is a career safe field considering the emergence of AI? What a great question always.
Yeah, really good question. If you're going to do recruitment, realistically, you have to be cross-trained when it comes to data analytics. Because recruiters use a lot of data analyst tools. So honestly, you have to be hybrid trained. So my suggestion, if you want to be a recruiter, you definitely need to do data analyst training. So we have a couple recommendations. So data analyst, business intelligence, all of that kind of sort of the same thing. It overlaps. So whether we're talking business analyst, data analyst, all of that, you need to learn that stuff because that will give you career security as a recruiter. Outside of that, recruiting, especially in the tech space, and really I say tech, but really high level recruiters, like if you're looking to make six figures as a recruiter, because I'm expecting you're looking to make like really good money, it's not what it used to be. Recruiting is not you just looking at the list. I'm not saying you think this, but I'm letting people know recruiting is no longer you just looking at a list of candidates, you reading through resumes and seeing which resume you like the most, and then you scheduling an interview, you interviewing the people, you ask them a few questions, you do a few rounds of interviews, and then that's it. That's no longer recruiting. Recruiting is heavily integrated with data, and you learning data and you learning AI. And so we actually have an interview on the Texas New Black podcast. There's a recruiter that I interviewed. She didn't want to say this publicly. She makes probably around 300,000. She makes somewhere between like $250,000 to like $350,000, which is very rare for a recruiter to make that kind of money. Very rare. And in the interview, I was asking her like, okay, how do you stand out as a recruiter? What are some of the things you do? And this was a year and a half ago when I interviewed her. And she was talking about how like you have to learn data. You have to learn this technology. Like you cannot think you can just be a traditional recruiter. And so that's why you have to think about it. When companies do layoffs and they do layoffs and they don't have plans of hiring anybody for another year and a half, like in mass droves, some of the first people to get let go are recruiters. Because why do we need people to hire people if we're not hiring people? Like, it doesn't make sense. But the recruiters that don't get let go are the ones that offer unique value to the company. And usually when they look at the chopping block, they're like, okay, and this is for every role in general, by the way. When they look at the chopping block and they're thinking of who we're going to let go, who we're going to keep, because the company's never going to axe their entire recruitment department. They're not going to do that. Who are they going to keep? They're going to keep the ones that are most versatile. They're going to keep the ones that have the most talents and abilities that they bring to the table. So there's 2 recruiters and one does things traditionally, whereas the other recruiter knows how to leverage AI, knows how to read data, and is good at all of that stuff. Clearly, the other one who isn't as good as that stuff and doesn't have those skills is going to get let go. So my say to you, don't focus on recruitment, focus on getting data analyst skills and then apply for recruiting roles. You will stand out far above the other recruiters. And they're like, whoa, you're trained as a data analyst. You want to be a recruiter? They will love to have you on. So definitely focus on that. If you're curious about recommendation for the best data analyst bootcamp, literally just tap in. Literally, you can just DM me. I'll send you a discount. I'll send you a discount to 2 different options. 2 different options that I know both of those are phenomenal. Like I've interviewed data analysts from both boot camps that I'll send you. So if you're interested in that or anybody else is, literally just DM me and I'll send you those options over with a discount. So that way you can look at each one and see which one you feel is better for you. Always the test recommended me to be a business analyst. Perfect. Yeah, business analyst, data analyst, all the same thing. Yeah. So again, if anybody does our quiz, the recommendation, it might recommend data analysts, it might recommend business analysts. That's the exact same thing. So again, y'all, they sound different. And again, in detail, they have slight differences, but you could be a data analyst and get hired as a business analyst. You could be a business analyst and get hired because overall, a data analyst, you are looking at data to enhance the business. Same thing. Business analyst, you are analyzing the data. Like it's literally, they're almost interchangeable in a way. Lyric Studio says, so is about to build that robot Kevin Costner as a bodyguard. That's the bodyguard. That's fun. Y'all know how movies always make remakes. They'll probably make a remake called The Bodyguard again in the future, but it'll be with an AI featuring Ash. My pleasure always. All right, so last couple pieces of news. We're not gonna spend as much time on these. It's literally just 3 other pieces. So one, in Nvidia. So who here? Let me know in the chat if you're familiar with Moore's law. Moore's law. So Moore's law typically states. Let me actually go to what. Do we actually have it in here? All right. So Moore's law is important to the history of computing because Moore's law ultimately states that things every year, everything will kind of double in terms of how fast we're advancing. So, you know, however advanced we are now, instead of like next year, Moore's law states next year we should be double, which means 2 years from now, things should be quadrupled. And then 8 years from now, it should be octupled. I don't know what it is for 8. But again, Moore's law states that 8 years, I mean, in 3 years, it'll be 8 times better. 4 years, it'll be 16 times better, 32 times better, 64, so on and so forth. That's Moore's law. That's not the case with AI robotics. Literally, the Nvidia, their AI chips have actually 30x'd in improvement in 1 year. So again, this is why it's almost impossible to make a timeline prediction with this technology. And this is why even someone like Sam Altman, when I was interviewed on Anthony O'Neill's podcast, the interview dropped a few days ago. Y'all go and check it out. I made a statement on his podcast. A couple people in the comments came for me. And my statement was, I said, no one has mastered this. Like there's no one that's mastered this AI. And a couple people in the comments were like, yes, people have. OpenAI, Nvidia has. And I was like, no, you don't get what I'm saying. No, like to master something almost mean like it's one thing to say you're one of the best at it, but you haven't mastered it because no one's mastered it because no one really, even Sam Altman, he himself said he's really not sure when AGI is going to be here. He's like, it could be here in 6 months. It could be here in 2 years. It's one of those things where we can make predictions, but the advancements are so faster and different than what we could predict. It's all over the place. So that being said, literally 30x. So the technology we talk about, like I just said, I didn't realize Uber. I always knew, even when I was a Lyft driver, I knew Uber and Lyft's game plan was to eventually get rid of drivers. I didn't know it was going to happen in 2025. I'm like, whoa, it's already here. Ash, we talked about this last year. We were talking about this. And I was telling people, hey, that's their plan. Y'all know recent streams I've said this is their plan. But even when I was saying it, I'm still thinking like, I would probably like 2, 3. Oh, dang, hold up. They doing it in Texas and Atlanta. It's spring of 2025. It's fast, y'all. Really fast. Lonnie says you guys need to be on TV daily at 6 or 10. There's enough tech news every day. Look, we get a sponsor. We get some big sponsors.
We can have our AI avatars do it.
That's the part. Yeah, but look, we get a sponsor. Let us mess around and get a sponsor that at least sponsors us at like $5,000 a week or $20,000 a month. Hey, look, that's enough money. We could have a production team. We could do it in Atlanta. We got it could be like today's show. We could have a special guest on every day. That'll be cool. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's get to the last two pieces of news. Last piece of news is more interesting. There was a guy who was stuck in a Waymo robo taxi on a dizzying loop. So a month ago, a video circled around social media of a Waymo robo taxi stuck in a roundabout loop, an isolated incident with no passengers in the vehicle, according to Waymo. Apparently, it wasn't a one-time thing. Around the same time, another Waymo robo taxi headed for Phoenix Airport. Mike Johns, founder and CEO of AI consultancy Digital Mindstate, also found himself circling in a parking lot, unable to stop the car or get out. So the technology is clearly got bugs. Let me know how scared on a scale of 1 to 10. How afraid would you be if you were stuck in a self-driving car, the doors are locked, you couldn't get out, and it was just going around in circles in a parking lot, and you just couldn't get out? That's probably pretty crazy. That'd be pretty crazy. X, our last piece of news, X, formerly known as Twitter, X, the social media app formerly known as Twitter, launches Grok's iPhone app in the US. Elon Musk AI chatbot became free for all users last month. So XAI has released in the US for Grok's chatbot, as spotted earlier by TechCrunch, the standalone app version of the chatbot, which XAI calls a beta, which basically means, for those of y'all, we talk about QA. This means they had a QA team test it out. They gave approval, but now they went ahead and put it, they put a version of it into the market right now that's in beta mode for them to test it out, while still a few other features and functionalities are held back until another time. So still in beta. It can perform the same functions as the one built into X, as it can field real-time information, answer questions, and generate images. XAI started testing Grok's standalone iOS app in December in a handful of countries. There's no word on when it may come to Android. Though Grok was initially only available to X Premium subscribers, the platform started letting all users access to the chatbot last month. We reported on this, by the way. Bringing it in line with other free-to-use chatbots like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, Google Gemini, and Microsoft's Copilot. So the race is here, y'all. It's been here. We talked about earlier, someone said, hey, I'm worried about, if this AI, if it kind of takes everything over. The reason why, as much as we talk about the Terminator and all the crazy stuff, the reason why theoretically AI can't take everything over is because it's democratized. It is because there's not one AI company. There's a bunch of AI companies. Now, there could be an incident where something happens with one or two companies, but again, all of these companies are separated unless they all integrate or unless AI becomes sentient and it decides to integrate across the board. Outside of that, again, we have some reassurance that at least all these companies are separate. And so there won't be one company. And as long as society, we keep things where we don't allow a monopoly, like an AI monopoly, where it's like, this is the AI that runs everything, or this is the semiconductor chip company that runs everything. As long as we don't create an actual monopoly, I think that'll be one of the things that could safeguard us from the risk. Lonnie says, you guys are good. I appreciate that. Lonnie also says several problems with AI, but also great this to come. Great. I'm assuming you mean greatness to come. All right, look, y'all. Look, we covered a lot of news. We ran way over time. But there's a lot of great news, a lot of great things we talked about. Again, y'all, if you've not hit the like button, please hit the like button on your way out the door. Make sure you hit the like button for us. That's all we ask. For those of y'all that are looking to get AI skills to be able to upskill in your career or your business, make sure you tap in with Ash, free consultation with her, get a free consultation with her. So that way she can kind of map things out for you. A lot of people have done consultations and they've been raving about them. For those of you that are either looking to start a tech business or looking to get a tech career. And again, when I say tech, I'm meaning AI and tech, you actually being trained in those things. Make sure you click the link down below to take our free tech career quiz. And we have a lot of solutions for you. And you're always going to get a solution that will get you a 6-figure career in the tech industry. You'll also be tapped in with our community of over 5,000 techies and professionals, people that are in tech. But most importantly, y'all, make sure that y'all tune in next Saturday because we are going to be announcing the link for y'all to get your tickets for our upcoming tech event that's going to be on February 1st, the Grown and Techie event. Make sure you are there in person, not your AI avatar. We actually want to see you there in person. Make sure y'all are there. Thank you, Lonnie, for the love. Thank you, Candy says that was great. So glad I was tuned in, and we're glad that you were here. Appreciate all the love, y'all. Links are down below. Hit the like button. We love y'all. God bless. Have a beautiful weekend.